Okay, we're live. This is Open Chat 81. Um, yeah, we was trying to do the sim thing here and fail. Oh my god, being for somebody that kind of does all well, I don't do that for a living. I work in other area of the tech sphere. And so yeah, streaming and all that stuff, that's just not the business with me, man. Excuse me. I just don't know it. I'm not all that great at it. Where did I leave my coffee? Where I put my coffee? Um okay. Well, I'm gonna get up and go grab that in a second. I think I know where I left it. So yeah, this is kind of an open chat. I guess I'll wait for some people to roll through if they want to join. They care to chop it up about just kind of whatever. Um, I said I was trying to do the sim racing stuff, but yeah, I'm gonna have to probably take Curlin up on his offer here and probably like over the weekend or something next week. Give him a ring and get a Streamlabs sorted out so I can just use it. Because trying to do that, and I still got to Zoom is something that I still need to figure out as well. So uh, yeah, your guy here is just he's not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to the streaming stuffs. I really am not. But yeah, I mean, in terms of this particular little live stream open chat, man, it's whatever you guys want to chop it up about. Um, I don't know. You got questions about EVs, tech, the Sapio shit. Um, I noticed the whatchamacallit, the Platinum Elite. And shout out to him. He's a good sport, man. That one was pretty popular. I think that one has like maybe like 500 views or something like that. It's always like the open chats that get like a ton of views and participation. Like, we'll get more viewership because what's being talked about is kind of open, right? So everybody can kind of chime in and talk. So we try to have these open chats, regularly to kind of just have so people can feel like they can engage. You know what I mean? Maybe sometimes like, space and technology. It's like, okay, well, I really can't put in on that, right? Um, but we're also regular people as well. So we also can talk about regular stuff too. I mean, I think that's kind of why sometimes when people go, "Yeah, you're the tech guys," and I go, "Well, a lot of us work in that." Yeah, okay, not even all of us. That's the first thing. And we talk about more than just tech because we are more than just tech. We're also real actual people, with real actual life experiences and stuff like that. So, we also, as intelligent brothers, we have the capability to, speak on subject matters like relationships and things like that. We can do that too. So, this we pride ourselves on running a multifaceted platform here, and we're trying to just, encourage people to engage their multifacetedness. Stop thinking it's weird because you secretly have like chicks, for example. It is weird if you're a guy and you have a and you have a passion towards like shit like crystals or something. You know, so like, dude, you should share that type of stuff. I used to be kind of closed off like that. Like, a lot of my stuff, I just kind of keep it to myself. But I mean, shit, post COVID, what more do you really have to do but, you know, share your talents, your passions, and you know, thoughts if they're constructive and positive. Yeah, why not use these mediums to share it? You know what I mean? Wait, you know what? My dumbass didn't even do this. Told you, I'm not good at this. Yeah, given that this is an open chat, it'd be awesome to provide the link, wouldn't it? Jesus Christ. Here, let me do this. I'm gonna go grab my coffee, and if anybody comes up, cool. If not, you know, we can just I'll keep rambling until people do start showing up, I guess. Let me be right back. I'm just gonna get my coffee. Okay. Oh man, that's what I needed right there, man. Some coffee. Sheesh. Whew. Yeah, that's working. I was missing my coffee. All right. Hey, what's going on, sir? But yeah. So, I had a thought, man, before I went off and got the coffee, and let me kind of circle back to what I was thinking here. Um, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I was just, the open chats are like more for pretty much people to just kind of pull up and dialogue. You know what I mean? In other areas of, of like of Black YouTube, let's just say, that's kind of like what primarily goes on. It's a lot of panel type stuff, but it's sort of kind of open or general. Here, things tend to be very specific. In terms of like when we go live, it's usually like a very specific thing, right? So, but this is the venue to kind of just open it up, man. Mm. Oh God, that's so good. Coffee, it's good. I need to switch it up though, man. I need to switch it to some tea. Spring is rolling around. My body already started telling me. to start drinking a lot of water with lemon in it. So like the last 2 days, man, I've been pounding it, and it's making my body feel right. So I'm trying to trust my tuition here. Let me take a look at something. Okay. And what I'm not going to do is talk about the topic du jour that are out there. I'm pretty sure you guys are all aware. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure this is working right. Okay. Um. Yeah, I'm not going to ramble about the topic du jour and who's beefing, who's porking, and who's fishing. You know, don't care. I don't care. Um, you know, I do care more about like just maybe what people's thoughts are on just sort of like, I guess you could say, topics as a general sense. Again, this is an open chat, so we can chop it up on whatever. So for that one chick who pulled up and said that black men don't love you, this is your opportunity if you'd like. I think her name was Silky Red. Yeah, if you want to, now's your opportunity. If you want to come up and tell me why I don't love black women, then feel more than free. uh, or if you have questions, you know, clarifications on what masculine or feminine intelligence entails, you can come on up and ask those questions. If you have questions about my sim rig and what I would suggest if you're trying to get into it at an affordable price, we can talk about that. We can chop it about music. However, I know I'm gonna get with Art New Style, and we're gonna do a. He suggested to do like a kind of like a fusion live stream, and I thought the idea was brilliant. So I'm gonna get with Art, and we're gonna put together like a live stream where we're gonna kind of deep dive into like Afro-Cuban. We're gonna just delve into all that shit. We're gonna delve into all that stuff, man, because it's some rich African rhythms that are sort of like the underpinnings of a lot of music from the Central and South America's Caribbean. It all ties in, it links, you know. But there's just something, it's just like, and Art understands, man, there's just something about like Afro-Brazilian, like jazz and shit like that. Like I'm trying to think, some of the artists that come from there. My head can't really come up with artist names at the moment, but I was playing some of it. I want to say it was on the Infatuation live stream. Maybe no, not that one. It was a different one. But yeah, Art was peeping game. So we're gonna do a music live stream. We're gonna talk about like fusion stuff like that. I want to even do one. I said, man, the drum and bass, all that shit is like, if y'all like have never like listened to like dudes like Goldie, who's basically like the god of drum and bass and shit, like, man, y'all need to like really kind of maybe just take a day or something, man, and just step out of your comfort zone and listen to like dudes like Goldie. Just like listen to it's some jazzy, melodic, kind of R&B-ish drum and bass. Some of it. Then he has the rough stuff, man, with the Metalheads crew that he does. But like some of his own sort of like inner works that he does, where he kind of just really creating music with the shit. Oh my god, never heard drum and bass like that, man. It's like R&B drum and bass or some shit. I don't know how to describe it. Um, I've gotten um, I've gotten a couple compliments and questions about the thumbnails that we use for like a lot of the Sapio live streams and stuff. And you know, that's going to be a topic. I actually did a Sapio live stream on Afrofuturism. It's like an aesthetic, like so in those thumbnails that I'm using, it's basically an Afrofuturist aesthetic. So it's basically seeing or projecting an image in a way you don't typically associate with it. Usually, an image that's like based in the future. So, you know, let me see here. I think maybe what I think what's going on here is that there's probably like other live streams going on. That's probably what it is too. And so um I can't ramble on about nothing for a long time. So I think maybe what we'll do, I don't know. I'll give it like another 10, 15 minutes, man. And if no one pulls up, we'll just say and we'll try again another time. I get it, man. We're not that interesting. I get it. That Sapio stuff is highbrow. You guys and your intelligence. See, you guys don't appreciate beauty. It's like, no. You like both. What? Both? Yeah, both. What's wrong with that? Yep, both. Why I never? I mean, yeah, someone. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to rag. It's like it's so weird. That's why I was like, okay, if you guys go back and listen to the infatuation live stream, I really do just kind of have to dissect this one a little bit. So okay. The thumbnails have attractive black women in them. But we're gonna start right there, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm putting like kind of like non-objectified images of beautiful black women, right? So this kind of speaks to like how I see them, okay? And so then the topic is about infatuation, right? So that's a non-binary subject matter, right? It has zero to do with any sort of gender war. I'm putting that in air quotes. Gender war. Anything. We don't even talk about gender war shit over here. Everything here is more unisex, right? So she pulls up, and it was just like, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, black women, y'all just don't love black women. And I was like, what? Wait, what the hell? What? And I was like, wait, excuse me. I'm sorry. We're talking about infatuation. Yeah, well, yeah, y'all don't. Okay, wait, stop. Do you know where you are? Hold on. Let's pump the brakes. How did you get here? Oh, I just saw it and I clicked it. Oh, okay. Did you read the title of the video? Yeah. In fact, okay, so we're talking about infatuation. What are you talking about love for? So I mean that even right there basically tells me that there's one, people aren't familiar with the brain trust. They've heard the name, right? They've heard the name of this platform, and because it's called the Black Brain Trust, they say, oh, the tech guys. right? Without really getting the full scope of the thing that we created, Manosphere 3.0, what it's all about. I always say it's just go to the about section on our YouTube channel and it's right there, right? But you'll see that we're more than tech. We're tech centric because we're technocrats, but even just in the practice of day to day living, we're not like intrinsically tied to a goddamn computer. Okay. We are human. We're human. We are black men, right? And we run the gamut of experiences and backgrounds, and age ranges, okay, and knowledge base, right? So it's kind of like, okay, we sort of break the mold. We're from all over the diaspora. We pretty much go counter to every stereotype out there. That's what this platform's about, right? This platform will engage with women intelligently. We have no problems with that. Just so oftentimes I think people have a misunderstanding about what this platform is and who it's comprised of. You know, one of the main people who supports us and who does things for us is Miss Raining Woman. With the Twitter and the Facebook, for the channel. There's a woman supporting us. See, so there's no gender war talk here. So, I mean, this platform here is requiring. What this platform is requiring of people is to step their shit up, raise your shit up. Right? If you still in that low level shit where you're gender warring, in social media, well, that tells me you haven't grown up yet because you're not using social media the way it could be used, for beneficial purposes. Whether it's sharing thoughts, ideas, information, you know, or learning and understanding each other when you're having conversations about relationships. You can use this medium for that stuff, but hey, if you opt not to, that's fine. Just understand what this platform does. Understand what this one does. Let me see here. I don't. I mean, there's not really much comments or anything like that. I don't know. Like I said, man, if we don't really get a panel or anything like that, I think this will just be another live stream where. Well, I guess I can leave this one up. I'll just retitle it something else because it's just me talking. So we'll just call it something else. I don't know if anybody's interested. Instead, there's other goings ons. There's a live stream right now where they're talking more pill talk. I think somebody's got a black red pill hybrid concept. I holy shit. Okay. Yeah. 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 Let's see here. Is this black to the film?
Yes, sir. How are you this morning? I don't know where you're at, but it's morning where I'm at. And
Yeah, it's
how are
morning
you
here
today?
too, man. I'm on the West Coast, man. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing? Just thought I'd jump on with you. Chop it up with your brother.
Yeah, man.
Let you know we
This
out here.
is your first time here, man?
No, I usually check in with you guys every so often,
Hmm.
depending on when you go.
Yeah,
Depending on when you come on.
I think I've seen you in the
Mhm.
chat. I don't think you've ever been on the panel before, though.
No, no, no. I've been on other panels on other channels, but not yours. Yeah, not
Oh,
yours.
okay. Oh, okay, man. How long you been checking out the Brain Trust, man?
Oh boy, I heard about it through BGS.
Hmm. Oh,
So
okay.
I want to say maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe like 3 months, 4 months, something maybe.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I don't really recall when you guys started it, but it's been a
No,
minute. I know.
we're going on 3 years.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we going on April will be our third year
Okay.
where we've been at this. But yeah, we all kind of like actually clicked up on BGS's platform. Shoot,
Okay.
4 years ago.
Okay.
But nah, man, that's what let's see here. That's
Yeah.
what that's kind of what we've been on for the last 3 years. Really, just kind of pushing this technocratic agenda here.
Okay.
Soldier of the TMH, welcome.
Yeah. I just didn't want to misspeak and sound like a hole. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
be
no,
like, you
no,
only been here yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, two
no, no, no.
years, man.
No, you're all good, man.
Yeah.
I'm always interested to know like when it is that kind of people, especially if I'm not really familiar, right?
Okay.
There's names that I like will instantly recognize. Some names I'll
Okay.
recognize that come in from time. I've seen you in the chat before.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like how long, because I don't ever recall like you actually coming up on a panel, right? So
Well,
then
I
I'm,
wanted I wanted to get on the last one. You were talking about the infatuation, but but it was kind of crowded. You know what I mean?
oh
So
yeah, well we ended up I ended up chopping it up with Topaz and Ruby. Topaz, she's a therapist.
okay.
So yeah, so she had some real interesting things to say about it because it did have a lot to do with kind of how people perceive their emotional state, right?
Okay.
And like when you don't understand like what being infatuated is, you'll confuse it as
Mhm.
something else, right? And because it gets into like the psychological aspects of intelligently being able to understand your emotions,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's really what that was all about. But soldier of TMH, you there? Because I heard some noise and okay, I don't.
Well, I was gonna ask you real quick. I mean, I know you probably done this, but it might. But just a question.
Yeah.
Have you really explained what a brain trust is, or what the purpose of it is to
What
everyone? To
this
general
one?
people. No, no, I'm not. I mean the terminology to people. Like the definition. Like what, like what. I think sometimes like people they're not gonna ask certain questions. And they're like, "What's a brain trust?" You know what I mean? I don't think they get it. They don't understand. So
Oh
I was just curious if you've ever
yeah, I mean
disclosed.
it's yeah, I mean, and even BGS has explained it to a lot of people. I mean, where we are essentially is a think tank.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no, but it's like I said in the about section, in
Mhm,
Twitter, Facebook. I mean,
mhm.
I mean, I think what it is though with us, people actually sort of limit. They actually limit what it is that we are, right? They
Mhm,
limit us to tech, right?
mhm,
That's what
mhm.
they'll limit us to when we're actually far more than that. That's
Yeah,
really what it is that I've found is that they actually limit us.
yeah.
Hey,
Uh,
brother, can you hear me?
there you go. Hey, yeah, I can hear you now, bro. What's going on, man? Welcome.
Uh, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I think I've been on here one time or two times
Yeah, I want
before.
to say I think I remember you being up once or twice before. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, guys. Not to, disrupt the chat.
No, you
It's an
good. You
open
good,
chat.
man. It's open. Yeah,
It's
yeah. Go
open.
ahead, man.
Oh, okay. No, I really wanted to know because, I'm a black brother and everything. I'm a blue collar brother.
Hmm.
And what I've been trying to do over the last course of, let's say, 6 months is I've been trying to get a lot of brothers into stocks and crypto.
Yeah.
Mainly because I remember, I'm 31, so I started trading stocks when I was 26. So when you first trade, you're gonna lose. But then over the course of the years, I started gaining more. I basically got in the green. So whatever I lost when I was younger in my 20s, I started gaining more now. And
Yeah.
with the knowledge that you get, it's even better. So what I started doing is any avenue I can, especially at my job, because I work around a lot of black brothers.
Hmm.
We're blue. I work corrections, so we're blue collar,
Okay, that's where my
and
pops comes from, man. Corrections.
then we make a lot of brothers make six figures. So I'm like, all right, a lot of these guys have, they have multi-family homes, so they making money on the side. They doing things like that.
Hmm.
So I'm like, with all the money that you make, get into stocks and crypto. So what I've been doing, like right at my job, what we have a group chat,
Hmm.
and I've been expanding it over time with a lot of brothers. And like even now, what we do is we go back and forth, and we just because sometimes I don't know about good stocks to buy. You got to
Right.
research. So what we do is we go hand in hand and we give each other like different stocks. And when you're buying stocks, you don't just take anything at face value. A person might put the stock out, but you got to look into it. But at least we have that there where
Hmm.
each brother can contribute, and then they can tell you what to buy, and then you go look into it. And if it looks good, you buy it. But like a lot of brothers, we've been making a lot of money. Like I over the past course of the last year, a lot of brothers been increasing their income by like 50K
Hmm.
just buying and selling stocks and in crypto. I mean, because I remember when we were last March when crypto was at like 4,000 and we were talking about it, and then a lot of us bought
Well,
into
wait, which? Well, before we do that, we are not certified financial planners. If you are looking for financial advice, please go to cfp.org. Do not take what we're saying as financial advice. Proceed.
it. Oh, yeah, good.
You got to put the disclaimer out there, man, because
Yeah,
next
you
thing you
got to
know,
do
it's
that.
like,
That's why.
this is brother soldier of TMH was saying to go and buy. It's like,
That's why I told you, like in our chat, somebody might put a stock out, but if you have to go out there and look and research it yourself whether you buy or whether you buy into it.
mhm.
But I agree with you on that. But what I'm trying to do is tell a lot of brothers, because you got these other nationalities of people, other races going out there and at a young age buying and selling stocks and then making money. And I'm telling brothers, listen, I'm not into none of the so-called Pookie and Ray Rays, but if you got money like that and you can buy and sell stocks, transfer that money over. If you're a blue collar man, transfer that money over. If you're a white collar man, transfer
Well,
that.
here's what I would say to that. Okay, so and I think it's apropos that you actually bring this up, that you're bringing this up right now, because let me pull it up and I'll post it in the chat.
You talking about GameStop?
No, no, no. I was gonna. I'm
I
talking
lost
about.
money off GameStop, man.
Well, that GameStop's a massive pump and dump going on right
It's
now.
a pump in
Yeah,
freaking.
it's a pump and dump
I
going
bought
on.
yesterday at $120 and it went down to $80. I sold it, now it's at 300 and something dollars. It's a pump and dump.
No, it's no, it's
No,
dude.
no, no. You
Well,
want
like I
to?
said, before we get into that, because I am not like kind of like the foremost expert on it. I just know that the shit just jumped like 1,000%.
All right.
To
So what's
yeah.
going on? All right. So what's going on is with GameStop apparently, and this is what I be trying to tell brothers, and we need to do because like we on here talking about sex and all the relevant stuff, and the dynamics of the world is going in two branches, right? Where you're gonna have high income earners, and you're gonna have this huge pool of consumerism going on. Everybody else just gonna be yoked up, hit 24 hours a day, buy, and then they're gonna be cannibalizing each other because they're gonna lack an assessment of wealth to keep up with that consumerism that's coming, right? So what I've been proposing to brothers is if you got $5,000, $10,000, all of us together, 100,000 of us, 500,000 of us, we just all come together. We put all that together, and we have a substantial amount to make a position on a corporation. And by making a position on a corporation, that gives us controlling interest to vote, board members, executives. who make decisions on hiring and where offices are set up and things like that, so that
Yeah.
we can help the community, we can employ ourselves, and then it's like I hate to say a domino effect, but it's like a reverse domino effect, right? If you think about it, because now we're able to control policy of a corporation. It could be any
Well,
corporation.
yeah, you take it over
Yeah,
from the inside.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now we're getting somewhere.
Well,
But
I just
nobody
posted a
thinks
link
like that.
there.
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
posted a link there in the chat. So
Okay, cool. I'm gonna
now
check
what
it out.
that is that's a new series of live streams so that was last Friday,
Hmm.
and that's with Lionel of he runs the Crypto with Lionel channel.
Okay. Okay.
All right, and so basically what the two of you brothers are talking about is essentially what the Black Financial Fellowship series is gonna be just about.
Okay.
Okay, so if you check that one out, you'll see how deep we went into understanding the inner dynamics of
Hmm.
things like how to analyze stocks,
Hmm.
or making an investments in stocks via purchasing ETFs, for example,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the brother Soldier of TMH was talking about. See, sometimes, okay, this is why I said, look, we're not certified financial planners.
Exactly.
Okay, this is the reason why I say this.
Yeah.
For some people, buying individual stocks is a talent for them.
Yes.
Okay, for others, it's a task.
Yes.
Okay, cryptos, it's a talent.
Yeah.
Some, it's a task.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to know what your easiest way is? ETFs.
Yeah. ETF.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what we need to do is we need to look at all options, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
For those guys that want to go and they want to play the stocks, they want to play it,
Hmm.
they want to watch it, boom,
Hmm.
flip, buy the dip, get it, watch it rise, sell. If they want to play that game, look, there's guys
Yeah.
that have the knack to do that, right? And that's
Yeah.
not going to
Yeah.
be for everybody. See, so I would not suggest certain people to just buy stocks in air quotes, right?
What?
Because they're not going to be disciplined in the sense of looking at each individual stock that they're buying,
Mhm.
analyzing when to purchase, and they just might not be that attentive. However,
Yeah.
an ETF is a more suitable option. The reason why is because it's kind of a set it and forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Get what I mean? And
Hmm.
so, what the Black Financial Fellowship live streams are going to do is that's the thing. We were deep diving and digging and dissecting into each mode and method. And
Hmm.
even when we're talking about things like investments in businesses, dude,
Hmm.
like, how many times I've brought up utilizing Start Engine as a platform to like
Hmm.
wholesale buy into startups?
Yeah. Of
Like the
course.
stuff
Yeah.
you were talking about. Okay, you
Yeah.
you pull, let's say you pull a half a mil, right?
Hmm.
Go through Start Engine, for example. Go through one of those platforms and look at all of the companies that are in there, right, and what they're
Hmm.
creating, and just start buying pieces of them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, dude, but it's like you said, we have to have that as more of a mandate,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Right? It's yeah. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I did the calculations, right? So, for example, if this is just the minimum, if I know a brother's got 10 grand laying around somewhere, right? I know at least 500,000 of us. So, if 500,000 of us come together and form a cartel and we put in 10 grand, that's $5 billion right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's a substantial amount to get a good position. It's not a lot, but we can get a good position. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the thing about it is that in the era of startups that quickly get bought,
Yeah, yeah,
all you have to do is just provide like 50, 100,000 in exchange in equity, and then let the company get sold. Let it get bought by Google.
yes, exactly,
That's all.
exactly.
All you're doing is you. That's why I was like, dude, you comb through Start Engine, you just start buying
Hmm.
bits and pieces of next level startups, and then
Hmm.
let them get bought.
Hmm.
That's what I was
It-
doing with the SPACs. I was I was on a roll with the SPAC. So now you had you ever heard of Lordstown Motors?
Loristown Motors.
Yeah, they're an
Mm,
EV company, and Trump had pushed them during his when he was
that's why I was
president.
like, that name sounded familiar. Okay.
So now I had bought the stock when it was a SPAC, special acquisition company. I had bought it for $10. Mind you, it went up to $30. So I had bought around 1,000 shares. So I made $30,000 off of that stock. And the whole thing about it is that when you can, SPACs are good because, what they do is they're special acquisition companies. So if you can buy them where the stock is usually around $9 to $10, and you could buy it cheap. And if they never acquire a company, you're going to get your money back because they have to pay it back around the amount that it was selling at the time. So what I tell guys to do, sometimes SPACs don't go anywhere, but if you can get a SPAC for cheap, especially around $10 to $9, buy into it because you don't know what company they might acquire. So now you have Canoe, you have you got a bunch of those. And like I agree with you, and I would tell guys too not to play into penny stock. And then what you said about ETFs is great, but you have to diversify. Meaning, I have ETFs, but I have that through my job. Like I have a percent comp. That's no different from a 401k. But I don't get, they don't give me a percentage or they don't add on to it. But I have ETF, but what I do is I allocate a certain amount of money to individual stocks. And then day trading is good, but what I would tell a lot of guys to do is day trade with paper money, meaning if you have a platform that's good, day trade first with fake money. Get good at it. Understand how the process goes, and then when you're comfortable, allocate, let's say $500 a day just to day trade, or $500.
That's not enough. That's not enough.
No.
First off, I'm against day trading simply because of the capital requirements require you to make any type of profit, and $500 is not enough. You got to understand that I'm sure most people understand that when you purchase a stock and it increases in value, your profit is skimmed off of a certain amount of the shares, and you still leave enough so that it goes up further. You skim again, and you just repeat. Right. So with day trading,
skim the profit.
Yeah. The reason why I never liked day trading was because the capital requirements are so like you talk about salary, but what is the liquidity of the people that you work with? What are they worth as a person? You see, you talking about risking somebody's salary, but do they have the same in assets as their salary, or even 75%? What's
75%? Yeah.
You got to have something to fall back on. You can't just tell a guy, "Hey, man, I want you to go and play with $25,000 for the day." That shit could be going in an hour, bro.
Well, look, I mean, and it's kind of like
that's why I would say, like if you day trade, I say when you start off with the lowest amount that you are willing to lose, because everybody, what they say about trading or with stocks, especially when you're young, you have more opportunity to lose money because you gotta make
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. So I gotta disclose something here. I used to be a broker, you know what I'm saying? Years ago. Back, I'm talking like in high school, like when I was like I did my first internship on Wall Street. I was like 16. I worked on the street till like 22, didn't like the hours, so I got the fuck out of there, So I gotta disclose that. So because a lot of things you're telling me, I already know, I know I can tell you $500 for day trading is not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to do anything. You're just going to look crazy because the white boys in there, I don't know where they get their money from. It's none of my business, but they're playing in upwards of maybe $2 million sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's on margin, or sometimes that's just a position that they have. Or sometimes it's just a lot of credit. I explain to people what white people do.
I was gonna say, man, there's some credit. There's some credit. There's some crazy credit schemes that some of my homies, like white homies, done put me up on. Like, man, that's how they did it. Yeah. That's how. Wait, you mean to tell me your pops and his group of buddies did it like that? Like, goddamn. Yeah.
The white boys, what they do is I tell people this is how white people stay rich, right? So they get maybe like I keep the numbers simple. They get $100,000 in credit, right? And maybe they brought money, and maybe on that money, that interest rate is so good they pay $50 a month. They never pay the principal back. They just pay $50
Just
a
pay
month.
$50 a
Yeah,
month.
by 12 years, by 12 months, that's only $6,000 a year. So then they go and they day trade. So if they make at least 10,000 a week,
Think about
they're
it.
already a profit. They already got a profit. And
Yeah.
that's easy to do, right? So then if they lose it, it doesn't matter because they're only paying the
Paying
interest.
$60 a month.
Yeah, they're only paying
That's what I was like, dude. And I'm glad you brought that up. That's why I was like, look, man, I have to keep saying we are not certified financial planners, okay? Because that is not something that I would readily just go tell somebody to do as a method for like, getting into the stock game, right?
You're going to make somebody commit suicide.
Yes,
trading.
but that scheme right there, man.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a bunch of different business schemes utilizing that method that you can do. Not even you're not even messing with stocks, just like doing other shit.
I don't want to give the game
and I don't want to. Dude, I've never done it.
Yeah,
I've always been like, dude, I'll grind and just I come out the pocket on my shit.
So I don't want to give the game away for free, but I'll just say this. People talk about.
I was gonna say, man, we kind of delving a little off the cliff a little too much, bro. Go ahead.
People say start an LLC, right? I'll tell you this: if you do a corporation, you go a lot further. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
If you do a corporation, you go a lot further.
Yeah.
Like start an LLC. I'm like, do you people even look up what these entities are? Sole proprietorship.
Each entity can do different things. Let's just put it like that.
Like when I'm talking about doing with the brothers, where we all put up 10,000, that would just be a straight partnership. We all
like an LP.
Yeah, like an LP. Like a law firm. Yeah, like a law firm. We all got one vote. We all put up 10 grand. That's a share in the partnership, right? It's a straight partnership. We all doing our thing. That's how you guarantee nobody gets scammed, nobody gets cheated. Because with a corporation, you can't really always see the books. If you have all you can do is vote. You don't really see the books. Like what Gordon and Gekko say in Wall Street, get in there, let me know if the books is cooked. All he can do is vote. He can buy the company. He can leverage the fuck out the company. But if the books is cooked, he gonna take a bath.
Yeah. So look, that's why I'm dude. That's why I was. We put that idea out there a few times, man. Where it's like, it's basically you group buying. Group buying like bits and pieces of all these different companies, right? And then essentially what you have then is you basically then have a tech portfolio.
Yes, exactly. I'm actually working on creating a FANG index. You know what I'm saying? But I'm seeing a passive income bubble. I forgot his name. The guy that the movie The Big Short is behind, right? Mm-hmm. So you talk about EFTs. I got a great EFT I'm getting into. Water, believe it or not, water is the next big thing. Water.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, he was talking about how where we're looking at right now, and I see it with the exception of GameStop, but everything else it's a passive income bubble, right?
Yeah.
So everything is rallying to the point of like Amazon's like 3,000 a share. Like I think the dude said he brought GameStop at 125, and that's what I tell cats. You cannot, if you're going to be a successful investor, there are rules. And the first rule is you don't buy the market.
You don't buy the bull.
I'm not paying your bills. I'm buying, you know what I'm saying? If it's overpriced, it's overpriced. I don't see no more value. Like really for me, a stock over 52 is overpriced. That's my rule. Anything over 52, I just missed it.
Just don't matter. Yeah, you ain't rocking with it.
I'm not rocking with it. I'm not paying for you to go and have fucking lobster and steak because if I lose a buck at 152, I lost money already.
I mean, fundamentally, man, when you buy the top, it's just like, how far do you think that's gonna go?
You know what I'm saying? It tops off, and that's why I see what he's talking about. It's a passive income bubble because the gains are accelerated, and obviously there's something going on because we're in the pandemic. Is some type of way to move.
You gotta fundamentally the activity that I see on the market. I because of the pandemic.
Yes,
I'm trying to correlate the market activity, right? Based on the lack of actual business activity.
Exactly.
And it's like it's not at it, bro. And that's why it's like, I try to like really okay. So the brother Lionel, the one who's hosting the Black Financial Fellowship live streams, So his channel actually got pulled.
Okay.
Okay, and he was covering. He covers the financial markets, cryptocurrency, XRP, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
I think he was analyzing some stuff while certain cryptocurrencies were basically being investigated by the SEC, and
Mm.
he doesn't have a channel anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we had to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're trying to like walk because we have these new censorship algorithms and all this other shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to like really watch my mouth. But man, pandemic, post-pandemic social
There is no.
environment,
Well,
business.
let's just say this: there is no post-pandemic. I'll let you continue.
Well,
Go on.
okay.
You get it? You get it?
Okay. All right. So,
Never going to be no post.
let's just
Get that out there right now.
right. But what I see in terms of business happening in the real world, right?
Yeah.
And then market activity, right? Where's the correlation?
It is.
We got the unemployment, right?
Yeah,
We need to. But how is the market rally? How's it doing what it's doing,
bro? I like I said, I can't give the game away for free.
I'm being
about the
rhetorical.
GameStop. No, I know. I'll talk about the GameStop thing. What that really is about, and that's really it's not. I mean, I know you said it's a pump and dump. That's close to what it is. I read that they're doing a lot of shorts, but really, what it is just a bunch of guys that said, "Hey, let's all just play it. Let's all just coordinate what we're gonna do." Right, and we'll make a buyer's market, and that's really what they just did.
Yeah.
They made a buyer's market. When there's a buyer's market, there's a lot of sellers, so the price goes up as they buy. But
Right.
see, the thing is, only they know when they're going to stop buying. You don't know because the Reddit group, got like 2.2 million members.
I heard about. I'm like, wait a minute, wait, Reddit.
So it's a group on Reddit. It's a group on Reddit called something Wall Street that. It's a white boy thing, right? So we're not ever going to know about it because Reddit's a white boy thing, right? So they got 2 million members. So you figure maybe a quarter of those members are coordinated in creating a buyer's market.
Right.
And it's similar to what 50 Cent did on Twitter that almost got him put in jail, where he said that, before Coke announced it,
he threw some shit out there.
Yeah. He almost went to jail for that. It's similar to that, but imagine doing it by, what's 25% of 2 million? Imagine doing it by like what is that? Like 2, I don't know, whatever that number is.
But whatever it is, you did it. Did you do it on the slick?
Who,
you did it on you did it on the sly, right? Like we didn't Twitter this shit.
No. It's just them in the Reddit in the Reddit forum. So they in the Reddit forum. Just how me and you talking? I say, hey, Complex, I got a plan. Complex. And then I tell you the plan, and you say, "Yo, I know 5 guys that'll be down with that."
I know 5 guys that are in on it.
Know 5 guys. And then before you know it, we all coordinating, and we're like, "Okay, but see, you got to have the capital, right? So whoever's starting the plan got to have a significant amount of money to get a good position to create to create the frame." Right,
so that you can then create. You can then create this artificial buyer's market.
Yes, exactly. And
right, you basically gotta have the, I guess you could say, the purchasing power to set the shit off.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why they crying foul right now about it, and because what they did was they gave the game away for free. See that bragging stuff? See the SEC is nothing to play with.
They ain't nothing to play with, bro.
That bragging stuff will get you in Leavenworth real quick. And so they went out there and bragged. But the only thing saving them is that they're too busy with these Capital rioters to go and do the perp walk. But they would have perp walked these dudes already. But they're too busy with the Capital rioters. But maybe they may get to them in a couple of years if the statues don't run out. Maybe they won't. But now that the cat's out the bag. It's like, you really got to be careful if you're a serious investor. But again, like I said, I'll give you guys the first rule of investing. Don't buy the market. Don't do what they doing. If it's high, leave it alone.
It was like, Bitcoin hit 41,000. It was like, what are you guys doing, man? What are you waiting for? I'm like,
leave it alone.
You've been waiting this whole time, and then it gets to 41. Now you talking about buying, man? What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
I'm looking for that Litecoin for like $500. Leave it alone.
What are you doing? Dude who created it sold his shit off.
Yeah, because you're not gonna, you gotta make a little bit of margin. You gotta make at least $5, 10, and that's what I'm saying. Like the thing about it is, unfortunately, most of us, well, no, I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but a significant portion of Black America, as we know, doesn't have any wealth. And by 2053, our wealth goes to zero.
Yeah.
About people don't understand there's a difference between a salary. You can make $100K, that's fine, but are you worth the $100K? They are two different things. And people, that's why I get so annoyed when people are using their channels to talk about sex and high value men. And I'm
high value man. Dude, they don't even understand what value means.
What value is. Okay. So he got a job and he makes $250K. Let's just put a number to it because 6 figures ain't a number. Let's give it some respect. We're going to say $250,000. I'm going to assume that you're thinking like me, which isn't no real money anyway. But we're just going to say $250,000 is his salary. So if he loses his job tomorrow, is he still a high value man? That's the question.
I've posed this question. If or let's just say an unfortunate car accident, right? An illness, which takes him out of work, right? Look, check this out, man. I can explain it to you from. Oh, hold on. Hey, Renaissance man, what's going on? I want to welcome him on.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, man?
No, I came up because I heard you all talking about the GameStop situation. I actually had a coworker who reached out to me and told me about it. And the first thing that came to both of our minds is we hope that there's not a push to go away from free trades behind this.
Yes, there is. It's coming.
There is
because that's sort of a part of the thing that's enabled all this. Now, granted, we were talking about these guys seem like they have some serious money behind it, but for people to join this and know that they can trade for free, that's the downfall. Which I mean, to me, trading for free is awesome. Used to be $9 for a trade, which basically kept small money out. Now it's a free for all, but yeah, you all are right. Once you give it away, the SEC is going to go sniffing around. I mean, the SEC almost took Elon Musk away from his company over some commentary. It's just.
I would say that with Elon Musk, I think it was a calculated risk for him because you had I'm trying to remember whose fund that was that stayed in the media trying to short his shit. Okay.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So he's like, yo, like this dude can go up on every goddamn morning CNBC morning financial talk show, right? And shit talk and trying to shit talk the value of my company and all this. But fuck that, I'm gonna bark back. Right, so he toed the line and said some shit out there that countered the short positions. Right, and he ran the risk on it, but he was just like, "Hey, dude, look, I got guys out here trying to fuck my company over. So, what gives?"
But see, the thing about
Elon Musk.
But see, the thing about Elon, no, it's not. It's not a slap on the wrist. I mean, it's just having the right lawyers, man. He got the right lawyers. You gotta.
Okay, my bad.
Did you guys watch that Showtime series called Billions?
Yeah. I was gonna say
That's what I tell people to watch. If you want to talk about this game, like Axon, Axel. He's the realest. He's the realest character when it comes to this money game, right? All they do all day long is try to dodge the SEC and make money in questionable methods, right? But it really is dumpster diving. It really is eavesdropping at the bar.
That's one way to live, bro.
Damn. It's all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's blackmail. I can tell you because I've seen it myself. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. You hear something. What? Oh, what? Nike? Oh, what? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like myself back in the day, I used to straight ask people. I met this one dude, and he got annoyed with me because all the only questions I had for him, I forgot what the company was, but all my questions to him was, "Hey man, tell me a tip. What's going on?" You know what I'm saying? You work in accounting. What's going on? I don't want to talk to you. I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, what the haps is, man.
What's haps? When you meet somebody in a company, a corporation, they're like, "Oh, I'm the CPA of this," or "I'm," well, tell me what's going on. Then I don't give a fuck about that, man. What's going on? Because all it takes is that one little bit, and you can make a fortune. And Billions is the real deal. The SEC dude, he really lost, right? So he really lost the battle. Axel won the war and the battles. The SEC guy is way out of his league because what he don't understand is you can have some really good lawyers, and most of most of the really good corporate lawyers, guess where they come from? The SEC.
The SEC.
They turn over.
But here's the thing, though, with Elon, he still had to give up his chairmanship of his company. You got
so
I mean,
he's
vested in so many other places that's more like
look,
I was about to say that's a formality, right there.
No. My only point is, when you deal with people like, I mean, all he literally said was, hey, what was he talking about, the Hyperloop or something like that? He basically misled investors as far as what people thought. And I'm saying that, they take that seriously. And if you don't want to lose control of your company behind something like that, he got off because he had, he got a slap on the risk. But there are some things even your lawyers can't get you out of. You got to be smart about that.
I got two words, right? PayPal Mafia. If you understand who the PayPal Mafia is, you understand that they're untouchable.
Yeah, we're talking
it's
Musk.
Compromise, right? It's a compromise.
It's Musk. It's Dorsey. It's it was
a couple of them. It's like
couple of them. Yeah, it's a few. Yes, it's a few of them.
Yeah, the only reason why Elon Musk compromised, they didn't take anything away from him. He compromised. Why did he compromise? Because he needs the United States government to allow him to launch his rockets. People don't understand that the United States government owns the sky above 85,000 feet to outer space. What that means?
Yeah, go on, complex.
Right,
I was going to say that's why we've been covering the basically the formation of the Space Force and everything, because we've been covering shit, dude, since 2018. When everybody was calling us crazy, is the commercialization of space.
The rockets that land themselves. What do you think they're trying to do? They're trying to get off the planet. That's what they right now.
Dude, mining, space mining, all this shit. Way stations.
That's why I tell you that there is never going to be a post-pandemic. The pandemic is the pandemic because they don't want you to see that they're trying to get off the planet for some reason. Like that movie Asylum or Elysium, right? That's what
Elysium.
Yeah. They're trying to get off the planet for whatever reason. I think it's the corona flares, the Covington event, which is basically when the sun's corona gets so volatile, it vaporizes non-melanated people.
Well, I would say this, man. Here's what I'll say to that. I would say that to me, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say it's a stretch. Here's what I do know. Okay. I do know we're trying to get off this motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
For whatever reasons, like whatever. And I know that there's an industry, right, that is robust right about now with regards to all things space.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always been in the sense of you have a space race, because in a sense, whoever's going to master space is going to be able to, like we talked about the other day, complex, when we were talking about other things, your satellites, people knocking satellites out of orbit and things like that.
Yeah.
So, when you see Russia and China doing this, it kind of forces your hand to, we don't want them to get some strategic advantage, whether it's, they find some sort of, particles or something up there that they can leverage back here on Earth that gives them a strategic advantage, or just them being in space, being able to fire a weapon from a position we can't defend from.
Well, no, we have to actually look at it more in the line of, like, let's just say, so for example, like if you're like doing terrestrial mining, for example. Okay, well, you're kind of in that whatever the terrestrial jurisdiction in which the mine exists, right? So let's just say, like in Australia, they get these vast coal mines, copper mines, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, well, it's in Australia and it is protected by the military of Australia, and then whatever other partners that have agreed to say, hey, look, provide us with a little bit of this, we'll provide you with some added protection. You know how that goes. Okay, space. It's going to be working a little bit different because it's not terrestrial, right? So there's going to be this sort of interwoven mix of government and private companies, private interests, okay? People that in companies you may not have heard of or know about, okay? And so the government position here is that whatever entities, I guess, are operating within their terrestrial jurisdiction, if they have, say, assets in space, asteroids, for example, that are rich in uranium or some shit, right? And they claim it. Japan landed a probe on an asteroid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's their shit. They can claim it. Okay. Right. So now if we can track it, we see its orbit and everything, and then guess what we do? We send a follow-up probe, right? To begin doing an element and a compound analysis of what it's composed of, right? Then that feeds that data back to the ground and says, okay, look, here's what this thing is. Here's what's on it. Here's how much it weighs. Here's how much is comprised of each element. Here's the potential value of this. Now, guess what we're doing? We're digitizing the value of an asteroid into a blockchain via a crypto.
Yes.
Okay, we already have Eastern European companies already doing this. We already covered this. See, so when I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, no, I'm just looking at this as just basically a new industry, space commercialization.
It's the final frontier, right up there with robotics. Right up there with robotics. See, the people don't understand the reason why they need Elon Musk and these private corporations is because they don't have to do the safety things. They don't have to do all the safety stuff the government got to do. They can pollute, people can die, all kinds of stuff. They can cut corners, and they need to do that in order to get somewhere. If they don't take those risks, those valuable risks with people's lives and the environment, we don't have a space program at this point, which is why there's been no progress since what was the last thing they did? Since they shuttled their shuttles, no pun intended. Since they shuttled the shuttles, we haven't had anything, But is the agenda to get off the planet? I would say when you show me a rocket that's reusable. Hold on, I got an echo. Somebody got to.
Oh wait, hold on 1 second. Wait, I got to do the StreamYard hack. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, peace to the panel, peace to the chat.
Peace.
What's up, Mike?
What's going
on, G? When you have a rocket that is autonomous, can take off, land in the same place, is reusable, that sounds to me like some type of escape vehicle. You know what I'm saying? That's not a rocket for exploration. And like I try to tell my little circle, this is a game of it was a game of countries, and I mean that Black Americans are the only ones on the planet who don't have a country, but it's also now turning into what I call a game of planets, right? So if Elon Musk or somebody else, non-African American, gets to Mars before another person of color or another country of color, guess what that means? They own Mars. They control who goes there. They control all the franchises of exploitation of resources. They will then be able to quadruple their wealth in minerals and whatever type of exploitation occurs from that planet. And that's what we got to get into. We got to prevent that from happening. We got to get a planet now. Maybe we got to leapfrog from not having a country.
So this is not necessarily true. There's a treaty that with the United Nations that was signed that you cannot colonize those pieces of space.
It's called Galactic Treaty.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. We all know what the UN is. If we're going to be honest, we all know what the UN really is and what they're really not. And what they're really not is an enforcement agency. And what they really are, I hate to say it, is just bureaucrats. They are outdated. Their mandate isn't even practical.
This is the reason why you have, again, this is the reason why the United States goes and creates a space force.
Yeah.
Okay. Because now here's what you have to do. Look, treaties are open to interpretation. Let's just say. Okay. You see, so let's just say you sign the treaty that Mike is speaking to. Essentially, says, "Hey, well, look, we're not going to weaponize space, right?" And then some satellites go up, and they say, "Oh, these are just for research. These do for weather observation, right?" But then let's just say someone else determines that this thing can do something, right, that could adversely affect, say, my satellite, right? Now, by definition, is that a quote unquote weapon? Well, let's say if you have to basically discover that they created some sort of new type of technology that could adversely affect something else, then you have to file a claim saying that, hey, their satellite's weaponized. But it's not as if there's like an actual weapon by definition that's on there, right?
Exactly.
But since we play this cat and mouse game of espionage and was it the spy versus spy and all of that type of stuff. Do you think there's any sort of intrinsic trust between governments?
No, there's not.
Not at all.
It's all
Not at
just for
all.
show. It's just for show.
And you know how you can prove this? Well, the United States went ahead and just created a whole goddamn space force to let everybody know just how much we trust the Chinese.
Exactly.
Okay, and how much we trust.
Everybody else already had their own space programs. They
don't have
their military. Their militaries already called aerospace forces. The Russians, the Chinese, that's what they call them, aerospace forces. So they've always called it that. It was the United States that did not have that.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say it's more about it is created newly. But I mean, I've talked to a guy who was in the Air Force and was getting pulled into the Space Force when it was being created. It's about shifting some responsibilities as well as there's going to be some new mandates in there as well. But Mike is right. You know, we had some of this. It's existed with other countries. It's more realigning. And then what Complex is kind of getting at in the sense is if a country has a technological advantage over you, whether they say, hey, I'm going to, attack you or not, it's still going to make you uncomfortable that they have this technological advantage that you don't. So thus, I'm going to go and try to gain that technology myself. You see this also in like nuclear the nuclear triad and nuclear warheads, nuclear weapons, in the sense of, it like, for example, with the Biden administration, they take a different stance than say a Trump administration, which with the nuclear arms had a large buildup, large production. They can say, okay, there's nothing wrong with these having this, but if you have this large buildup, you can kind of send the message to people that you're almost setting off an arms race. So that's where you get this sort of push and pull of technologies.
Right.
Well, I think the arms race has been over. Again, you got to remember these are just terminologies of people who've been in the same position before we were even born. So they're not going to change their jargon. But you have to. I mean, I look at the actions, right? I observe the actions. To what I was going to say was I don't consider too many countries having an independent space program. Why do I not consider that? One is because everybody hoards the International Space Station, which is a Russian space station that Russia couldn't afford, so they lease it to other people to attach a module or send whatever type of knot up there for a couple of days, right? China's probably the closest. I think China's supposed to be on the moon in 2024 or something like that. So with that, until you it's basically tiers to this game, right? And one of those milestones is getting to the moon. So since who's been to the moon? I think America. I don't think
China
Russia.
launched a probe up there.
Yeah.
Now China also launched a 6G satellite.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we've postulated is that the 6G satellite, because the IEEE hasn't even outlined what the parameters for 6G bandwidth would encompass, right?
No, they submit it to the IEEE.
They submit it to the IEEE, but China didn't do that.
Yeah.
All right, so they already have their own designs and plans, and what we've postulated here is that it's purely for space-based communications.
Yes, purely.
Okay,
so it's actually to outstep the United States, since they were the ones who drafted 5G.
Right.
So
so you got to stay ahead
China
of the.
Sat out 3G, 4G, and 5G, and waited to jump ahead with 6G. So that's the whole purpose of it.
This whole purpose
is to leap ahead. If everybody else has already done the groundwork on the previous generations, let us take the lead on the next generation of the framework.
Right, and since they're already up in space, you may as well go ahead and get your 6G satellite up there, right?
Well, not just that, they're actually building their own space station outside of the international.
That's right.
Space station,
That's right.
So their ability to make it autonomous, where it's going to be basically a space micro manufacturing facility that does all of the work without humans. They're the first ones to do this. The United States hasn't even caught up anywhere close to this. And so what I'm saying here is you can't colonize pieces of space, because what you do up in space is going to affect what happens on the ground here. So if you do something up there that kind of goes against everyone's best interest, they will put sanctions on you on the ground, and you don't want to have to deal with that on the ground over something that's nebulous in space.
So it sounds like me and Mike have a debate because I believe that you can do whatever the hell you want in outer space, and it's going to stay that way for a long time. And one point I'll lead up to that is you have private entities trying to get to Mars. They're not holding to a treaty. Once they get off of the surface of the Earth and they go wherever they're going to go, whatever planet they chart a trajectory for, who is to stop them?
Another military.
Which military though?
It could be any one of the G20.
But see, that's not an answer. So you know what I mean? No, I mean, which one? China, India? Who is going to stop this private corporation from going all the way to Mars? Which one?
I mean, they could stop you just. I mean, if they really have a problem, if a country or a group of countries with that corporation doing something, I mean, they'll just freeze you out of the financial system. The idea that a corporation is going to have more power to stop a sovereign country, a group of sovereign countries, it's not going to happen in that.
Let me say this, right? Because I actually we're kind of seeing governments and big tech at it right now over the censorship thing, right? Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
Twitter.
I wouldn't go that far. However, we are talking about governments taking the step to militarize space and not private entities, right? See, so there is still a military barrier, okay? Whereas if there are governmental interests that ultimately do not want to see something outside of its jurisdiction get something that the government is trying to get, I would say that one of those satellites that doesn't have a quote unquote weapon on it may affect, let's just say, a ship's trajectory. I would say that we've actually seen this on a number of occasions where a rocket's going up and then all of a sudden it just shifts trajectory out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened last year with the UAE. They tried to put a satellite into space and it mysteriously mysteriously fell out of the sky. It was burned. But burned with a laser.
But I was going to quickly say, Complex, on the tech piece. But would you say the government's kind of winning that war right now in the sense of, hey, antitrust at least in the U.S., antitrust, Twitter and them are bending with putting Trump off Twitter? You don't think they're really?
They're not winning. Look, hold on, time out. Remember, Twitter shut down the president of the United States of America. They took away his voice. And the only reason they kept the presidential Twitter up was because he didn't actually own that. But he couldn't say
anything on it.
Yeah, he couldn't say too much. Do you understand? Like back in the old days, what would have happened if that was like in like the Nixon era, LBJ, Ike Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan? Do you know what would have happened if they shut down Ronald Reagan's Twitter?
The conversation is different. The context is different.
Yeah,
he was given several warnings and he violated all the warnings.
But what about even Mike, like the dude on CNN talking about how like people who report news on like YouTube, right, have far more influence than say CNN does. Yes. And so as a result of this, because I'll say like this, I can understand, let's just say from somebody who's speaking from a non-informed radicalized position, right? But if you were to institute some sort of censorship measure like that, guess what that also does? It also affects people who are well informed about the information that they deliver.
Yeah. Do you know how many people realize that the no-fly list was a real thing? I mean, all of this Patriot Act stuff that nobody bothered to read, and they're talking about, no-fly list, right? Oh yeah, it's only for Muslims, and then it happened to domestic citizens. And they're like, what? I can't get on a plane? Nah. They're crying, okay? So you got to understand what's going on.
No, I'm coming from the perspective of, in the sense that they were pressured because Twitter did not want to deal with Trump and take him off. I mean, they caught a lot of flack from that. No. They were pressured by government essentially, hey, Trump has incited an insurrection. He's gone farther than any other president has. And the blowback from that is what made them take him off the platform because they've been trying to push tech towards censorship for a while now.
Okay. I'm sorry. What's your name? That we're just speaking.
That's Renaissance. Hey, Mike. I'm gonna step away. I'll be right back.
Renaissance. Check
Yeah.
this out. Now, if you have a little bit of a judicial background, you know about precedent in the judicial system, right?
Yeah.
And you know that although the Supreme Court did not, try to help their homie win the election, they're still his homies because they got the control, right? So
I
if
wouldn't say they're still his homies. I think there's
well,
kind of a lot of people are trying to wash their hands of them.
work with me here, right? Just going off of theory, right? Work with me here. If he chose to sue Twitter for a First Amendment thing to get his Twitter account reinstated, and it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court, the decision either way would be pivotal to the First Amendment. And as far as it applies to technology, where as like how we're sitting here talking right now about the government, we could get knocks on the door, or nothing could happen at all. You see what I mean?
I don't, because in the sense of people keep going to the First Amendment argument on this, and it's not a First Amendment argument. I mean, a private company has the right to not have you on, specifically if they're going to feel that there's going to be some civil liability for the violence Trump incited.
I know, but what we have to work with is this document, right? This is what we have to work with, right?
Which document are you referring to?
The Constitution, the First Amendment, right? It's part of the Constitution. This is what we have to work with. We have to have some type of recourse. I mean, not recourse. We have to have some type of way to go after our rights and represent the laws of this country. We can't just. So you know why they haven't done any amendments recently to fix this problem is because they're afraid that adding stuff doesn't stop them from taking stuff out, meaning the amendments that make us not slaves. You understand that part, right? So when they open it up and say we're going to add this internet thing now, so blah blah blah, or we're going to add something for tech, blah blah blah, and oh by the way, let's take out the 14 and let's take out this.
I mean, the Constitution has not been amended because it's very cumbersome to do. I believe you need 2/3 of both houses to go and do it.
Yes, that's true.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, go right ahead, brother, please.
No, I was just going to say, I think part of what's going on in the legal world right now is people still trying to figure out how do you regulate social media? Because you got to think, Twitter, came around 10 years ago? So people are still, as this thing evolves, people are still trying to figure out, okay, what are the implications? How do we really go about even regulating something like this? I think it's something, an argument and sort of a debate that's going to be ongoing for the next couple of years on what sort of rules are we going to have to put around social media, especially if people getting radicalized for some of this stuff. Where are the bounds at? So that's why I think you haven't seen any like hard rules put in place like that.
The Europeans have put in some pretty stringent rules in place. However, when it comes to the First Amendment, it specifically says that you cannot incite violence as a form of freedom of speech. And what this guy did on January 6th was is pretty much inciting, or violating that part of the Constitution and the guidelines of the social media platforms in itself. And so when people talk about freedom of speech, they're using it out of context just to make a point that they can just do whatever they want, the liberal aspect of it. But the idea here was that he leveraged that platform to actually engage a demographic of people at the time to storm a government institution that was pretty much out of bounds for them. So he should have been dealt with.
Well, I don't think you should scapegoat that demographics of the population because I believe that was within their nature anyway. When I see people walking around with "Don't tread on me" flags, if you know the history of that flag, "Don't tread on me," you would know that you don't need a president to say "Go storm the Capitol." Okay, if you know about that flag, the meaning, the history behind it, you don't need any Twitter posts. I think that storming the Capitol was within the nature of that demographic just because of who they are. I still, and I think I got a pretty good beat on this, but I still can't see why they're angry. I can't understand for the life of me really why they are angry, because you have people that are saying we want our liberty, but at the same time, and I don't want to bring this up because it's kind of going to get murky, but Most of them are Blue Lives Matter. You know where I'm going, right? Complex. Most of them are Blue Lives Matter, right? So they're saying, well, we support the police denying black people their due process, but we want liberty. So then, if you want liberty, your movement should be, if it's Black Lives Matter, it should be, and I agree, that should be the movement. And then there shouldn't be a Blue Lives Matter. They should be out there to say, well, we're tired of the black people being denied their due process. We're tired of these summary executions. You know, we're tired of this going on. But they're not. They're just out there angry for nothing. They got all the money. They got all the wealth, right? They're fucking, even if they stop getting the worth tomorrow, it would still take us like 1,200 years to catch up.
Yeah, but they're not angry for nothing. They actually
make it make sense to me.
Well, they see what is considered to be their privilege being infringed upon by having non-white people involved in the political process. That's what they see.
Crazy. But that's crazy. That's crazy to think that. What type of so either they say, oh, slavery, forget about it. Racism doesn't exist no more. It stopped in 1995. Slavery, forget about it. It's so old. So either you see what I'm saying? It's they're contradicting themselves. Either they understand that, look, you're the majority minority, live with it, or there is racism and slavery doesn't matter. You can't have it both ways. You can't. I'm not gonna do that.
But that's not the mindset of a culture warrior. A culture warrior doesn't care about all of the intricate details.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not really.
They don't care about
that. They're not pondering that.
Yeah, the people that you saw at the Capitol, if you go back 300 years ago, those were the people who came in and ethnically cleansed the indigenous population here.
Yes, correct.
Those are the same people.
Yes, no, correct. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying here is they don't. All of what you bringing up, they don't actually care about. They care about the status quo is being challenged by non-white people, and so
that's crazy.
And Twitter, you know, the White House, the State Department, they don't know what to do with all of these people with the changing demographics. A lot of people say that Georgia was a red state. Maybe you could have said that 10 years ago. If you put all the voters back onto the rolls, it's actually a purple state now and probably a blue state in the next by 2024. Say the same thing about Texas. All the economic power that comes out of Texas is coming from blue cities, right? Demographics. Although it's a red state, Texas probably in the next 4 years will be, if not a purple state, maybe turquoise, sort of blue, right? This is where we are right now, and I think that they don't know how to deal with this. If you look in history, after the Civil War, they talk about the Southerners, the Confederates, how black soldiers were walking around in uniform from the Union with guns, and they were shocked. They had massive levels of culture shock because to them it was last week that we had these people enslaved, and now all of a sudden these people are standing on top of us with these guns, and this is not acceptable, right? So this is how they think, and I'm saying the storming of the Capitol is incongruent with their ideas.
I just don't understand. I mean, I like to think that people are somewhat intelligent in a elementary sense, even, right? So I hear what you're saying, Mike. I just can't believe that intellectually they're like, we want to be neo-Nazis, but USA, and it's like,
well, if you think that's something, man, you should have seen some of the conversations with some of the brothers who was on that shit. We really were confused by that one, but I digress. Hey, I gotta step away for a bit. I gotta get my daughter some lunch. She's on. She's clocked out for lunch, but y'all can go ahead and just chop.
Oh yeah. No, so I mean, I'm just saying that. Getting back to the whole Twitter thing was that I was gonna say how Twitter is one of the more lenient, very very lenient. I mean, I call it Pornhub Part 2 because it's so goddamn lenient, So for them to yank Trump off the stage. To me, that was just insanity because they got so much crap on there. They let people talk about harming African Americans all day. they have pornography, they have all kinds
Well,
of
I was going to say, I think that's where the direction that, like I said, it's still unregulated. And what Mike was saying with Europe, there, I was only talking the U.S. context. Europe is a step ahead of us. I mean, racism is essentially, banned in Europe. If you go and post something like that on Twitter, they'll fine you, and I think you can even go to jail.
They changed the laws after George Floyd died. They actually updated the laws, and so you do something like that, it is jail. I think it's like 1 year minimum or something to that effect, and it's $2,500 US as a fine.
Yeah, and I mean the fine was there before the George Floyd. I mean back in the early 2000s. So they don't have to deal with the sort of the constitutional framework that we have to deal with when we start talking about and just the tradition in this country of freedom of speech and those things. They're not as hand tied there. But I mean I think people are starting to realize, some people, that hey, they're starting to realize how powerful the internet is, and then how it can affect people. And some people would argue that Twitter, they're kind of behind. Social media in general is kind of behind with getting rid of people. I mean, Facebook was another one, during the election. You had Russian bots. You had a Facebook group full of African American Trump supporters that turned out to be a fake group of supporters that they had to go and get out of there. So I mean, they've been behind in that sense.
Yeah, but I'm just, I just don't, like I said, it just doesn't make. I just don't get it, man. I'm like, I gotta stop thinking about it, because every time I do, it just like bewilders my mind. I'm just like, man, these people are crazy. That's really what I think. They're just, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, well, they were posting a lot of this stuff on Parler, and Parler didn't police any of it. Parler was pretty wild west with the commentary on there, and even the strategizing to go to the Capitol was posted on Parler, all of it. And so because they didn't do anything about it, Apple and Google decided you can't be a part of our app store, right? We're not
that happened,
right? And so a lot of people were saying, oh, well, this is violates antitrust laws and things of that nature, but in reality it didn't, because Apple and Google both had stipulations and guidelines in place for hosting apps on their platform, and so they got removed for that very purpose. It wasn't Facebook or Twitter. And so Amazon, AWS decided that, hey, we're not going to actually allow you to host your data on our platform. You have 24 hours to remove it, and they didn't remove it. They tried to stand up to AWS, and they lost that fight. So they've had enough opportunities to create their own platform somewhere else, and they didn't. They pretty much did not do that. Plus they allowed their platform to incite violence against the government itself. They should. I think the owners should have been brought up on charges as well for not policing their platform.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say this about Parler. That's just a trash. That's just a trash social media platform to me, because their entire purpose is just to create that type of what's the word I want to say? I don't want to say animosity, but that type of hate. That's their whole purpose. So it's not really a social media. It's just like, let's really, and they're not even venting. It's like, let's all organize. Let's all get on the same page. Different factions, and we're all going to go here on this day. The different 51 capitals. That to me is more like a weapon. It's not like a social media is just a leisure thing, a pastime. It's something we do when we're bored, when we're at work, and we just want to pass the time, or it's that early Sunday morning thing that we do. But Parler to me is just another hood, and I'm surprised that they allowed it to get that far. See, my perspective is just that I don't believe that racism ever ended, and if it did, I need to know a date when it ended. Because you have a people, and I was just thinking about this morning, you have a people that were abducted, enslaved, denied basic rights, killed for wanting those basic rights, given those basic rights, then those basic rights were diluted. And, I don't know if you guys read Trump's 1776 report that he put out about slavery. It totally contradicts his executive order about teaching that white people are the oppressors and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, Dan, this dude just put out a report saying slavery was okay because it's an ancient culture, and basically like they want to have that discussion about doing that with us again. And I'm trying to tell
Well,
people,
I think 1776 too was in response to the 1619 project.
Yep.
okay, yeah, okay.
So there was a lot of animosity about that, essentially to say, hey, let's go back and tell real history in the sense of, get rid of the whole Columbus discovered America, type of history, and actually, tell the whole history of America through slavery, through the genocide of Native people, that whole thing. And the 1776 project by Trump was to basically counter that.
Mhm.
And basically be the right's response to it in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he put out that executive order before. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were working on it, But I'm just see this is what I'm talking about, the contradictions, right? Because he just put out an executive order that I found very helpful because I was like, well, if you look at it, it can also apply because black men in the workplace these days. I don't know what everybody else's story is, but my story is that they see me as a white man, right? They see me as an oppressor. They see me as someone who gets preferential treatment, and I have all these opportunities, and I make all the
Wait. Who sees you that way?
white women, black women, LGBTQ individuals.
I'm assuming you work in like a corporate environment.
Yeah, you can say I work corporate. I'm right now. I'm not doing any of that, because of the pandemic. But prior to that, yeah. And the kind of attitude I would get a lot is that I'm the same as a white man, right? Except a different way. I'm the enemy. I'm the oppressor. I have an advantage because we get to throw a basketball and earn me. It's just that the opportunities for a black man to become wealthy are seen as more lucrative than other people. So like a
Well,
black guy out of college, right? He can get $1 million deal playing some sport. A white woman can't do that. A black woman can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
well, I was gonna say in your situation, I almost wonder if they viewed you in a light of tokenism.
Yeah,
Like,
that too.
hey, he's here just to fill a quota, so they
That
have to
too.
promote him. They have to go give him these opportunities.
Yes.
That can definitely create some resentment if you're in an environment where there are
Yeah.
not many black men, and they feel that, hey,
Yes.
they may not know you, or they may not respect you, and they may feel, hey, he's just here for this, so of course
Yes.
he's not going to have to go through the hurdles we have to jump through to get ahead. But I mean,
Yes.
those same groups that you're pointing out can be viewed in that same light as well, because I mean, affirmative action has benefited white women more than anything,
Yes.
and black women got the nickname as the double minority. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it can kind of work in all contexts.
Yeah. No. I always consider myself. I say I'm the EEO. I'm the EEO hire. You know what I'm saying? I'm the brother that can get through those checks, and I'm the EEO hire. And I got the demeanor, and I got the education, and we're out there, but we're sparsely. Like I just was thinking, I've never had a black man that was a supervisor or a manager ever. And I'm talking in a 20+ career. Never had anybody like that.
That's interesting, because my person who hired me, my first hiring manager, was actually a black man. So
Oh wow, okay.
yeah,
It was.
I can't speak. I was going to ask Mike. You have any experience there?
No, I have never had a black manager. The people who have hired me were actually Indian and actually white women. I haven't had any African Americans or ADOS people actually give me the plug, so to speak, right? So I think
were those people, like when you say hire, are you saying the HR person or the actual your direct manager?
Manager and
Okay.
HR. So my IT managers have been Indian or Pakistani or somebody from the Middle East. One of my good ones was actually from Morocco, and so they seem to be more lenient, right? I only had to go through one interview with them, whereas the white counterparts in the process 2, 3, 4, 5 interviews, right? So
Yeah.
there seems to be a bit of a difference in relation in how they engage black males versus how white people engage black males, and it does seem to be very adversarial. It's almost like they're begrudging to hire you because they actually have ulterior motives to hire their own people.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the problems are in IT, because black males are least likely to be hired, and that's why you tend to see less of them, right? They make up like less than 5% of the population in terms of information technology hires, and so that's where the lack of diversity comes from. But their idea of diversity is really just bringing in more gender equality and non-black equality as well, right? So bringing in more H-1B visas is more important to them than to actually bring in African American males. And so I don't know, man. Most of the guys I see that are very successful in IT tend to be interracially married. From my experience, they seem to have a little bit more balance and more leadway for them than anything
You're talking
else.
about black guys?
Yeah, black men.
Okay.
They tend to go further.
I want to say I have read somewhere that like there is a wage premium essentially for brothers who are married interracially. I haven't looked at it too much. I want to say I stumbled across it, but it didn't go too much in depth. Like, are you talking about if this brother's married to someone's white, or someone who's Latina, Asian? It didn't really go into it, but it just said that they did see a wage premium. Like, I want to say like 7% or something.
So what I realize is that though in that circumstance, we talk about code switching, right? But it goes further than that, right? It's actually I would call it a vibration, a way that you carry yourself if you're a totality black man versus someone who is seen as how you say, having sympathies for non-black people, right? So you're with a white woman, right? Which means that maybe, well, no, you most likely see the viewpoint from her eyes. You don't see that. So if you with a white woman and the cops is beating up a black man, you're more likely to walk by and be like, not even acknowledge it, right? Whereas a brother would be like, yo, what are you doing to that brother? What's going on?
Well, I think it has more to do with networks. And so most people in the workplace usually date within their networks because of proximity. And so maybe I think some of these brothers may be a part of certain networks that allows them to actually have access to some of these upwardly mobile roles that typically brothers who may not be involved in those networks are going to have access to. And so what I was kind of articulating was that black men who come from certain zip codes, which is what they found on LinkedIn a few years ago. We talked about this on a Brain Trust before. They set up 2 fictitious profiles, one black male, one white male. Profiles are very similar. Only thing they changed was the profile pic and the name, right? And what they found was that the white male had more hits on his LinkedIn than the black male might have the same profile. And so when they confronted HR, one of the companies from that had HR department that actually tried to reach out to the white male profile, they asked why did they seek out interest in this profile, and they said that we don't have to disclose any information, right? And so we see this sort of bias even after Obama has left office, that the idea of diversity and inclusion isn't the same for them as it is for us, right? Diversity and inclusion is more about creating a safe space for black people, especially black males, where we can exercise our cultural ideals and have a shared thought in some of these spaces. But that's not really what they see as diversity and inclusion. They see diversity and inclusion as just more avatars hanging around the office and being a line stepper to them. And so that's why, I mean, we covered several articles after George Floyd was killed about this diversity and inclusion thing, because a lot of these tech companies who were saying BLM now, 5 years ago, they weren't talking about that, right? That was a big no-no to come into the office with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, because those would say all lives matter, right? And so, you see the sort of contradictions in how they treat demographics of people, even though they claim to be diversity, about diversity and inclusion and equity. They don't really mean it in the same way that we mean it, or at least the way we targeted. And so these are the sort of things that we discussed around here, for many years. I don't see anybody else really talking about it, but go ahead, Renaissance.
So me and the brothers, we used to say this in sales. I used to work with a couple of brothers because my profession is in sales, and a couple times, you get with a couple of brothers. We used to say diversity means blonde, brunette, redhead. That's what it means. Blonde, brunette, redhead. That's what it means exactly. But what the point I really was going to make was, I tell people what killed George Floyd was just that. It was poverty. It was not being able to secure gainful employment where he could earn a substantial living, where even if he did fall on a wagon, he would be able to subside from his savings, and ultimately that poverty is what incited his death. That's how I look at it. So I can see why, you would have that discussion about the lack of diversity, because it's definitely I look at all these brothers that come in contact with the police, and it ends unfortunate for them as all contributing to poverty, because you don't have bail money, or maybe you have a child support thing going on, or you don't have a driver's license because you got tickets, or your car tags ain't up. It's all about the money at the end of the day, and the salaries that a lot of us get that aren't don't have a professional experience or educational experience, or aren't even in a certain profession where none of that matters. The salaries we get, they just don't contend with the standard of living today. You really can't even have an automobile unless you make probably $35 an hour. I don't even understand.
Well, George Floyd had COVID, right? So he couldn't
work.
Right?
Well, he had COVID too. Yeah, early. Yeah. I heard
he had COVID, so he couldn't work, and he had other health complications. But the prime factor for him was that he was unjustly harangued.
Right.
So this shouldn't have happened. But had there been a UBI, had there been a stimulus at that time, he probably wouldn't have had that $20 bill, whether it was counterfeit or not. There's just so many areas where the federal government failed, including Trump, to actually engage this situation a little bit better. And because he played to his base inherently being racist, had no interest in what was happening with George Floyd or people like George Floyd, right? And so, he dropped the ball. I mean, he dropped the ball for himself, but it opened up a different conversation that, there's a lot of systematic injustice, even in places like Minnesota, where you have a high interracial marriage rate for Black men.
It's actually highest, which was mind-blowing, because I'll never forget when they started talking about, I believe it's the mayor, they started talking about, how progressive the city was and all of that. And then, once this happens, they were like, Minnesota, and they were like, Minneapolis specifically has the one of, if not the largest, disparity between whites and blacks as far as wealth, wages, things like that. And now they're going through the motions of, hey, we've got a pledge to fix this and that. But it was, it kind of in the sense woke people up to, hey, this place that is supposed to be one of the most progressive areas of the countries and progressive cities, the disparities that still existed.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask Mike. I noticed you keep mentioning, and I'm not married. I'm not married at all. I'm a bachelor for life, and I don't, I haven't dated a white woman in several years. But I noticed you keep mentioning the interracial. Is that like a what's the word I want to say? Is that like a adverse thing for you? Black men who marry white women?
Not necessarily. What I have found in IT is that in my early days of IT, how I used to treat these brothers was like, oh, these guys are just sellouts, because I didn't know any better. I was 19, 20, I didn't know any better. But now that I'm older and I talk to these guys, what I find is that they tend to be very well balanced in their demeanor is not something that is respected in the Black community, but it's actually respected outside the community, right? And so a lot of these guys are a little bit more ambitious than what I see in this space, right? They're volunteer firefighters, volunteer police officers in their areas, and They do Little League and Cub Scouts, and they do a lot more diverse things. And so I think that opens up a lot more opportunities for them to be upwardly mobile in these areas, and compound that with who your spouse is. That's also going to open up things too, depending on who she is and who she's affiliated with, and what kind of ties her family has, and so on and so forth. Like a perfect example is one of the guys I know is that he inherited a lot from his grandparents. She inherited a lot from her grandparents, and so they have cottages and vacation homes in New Hampshire and Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard and all these things. They have $2.5–3 million in assets.
Damn, yeah.
Right. So their mindset and the way they move is radically different than what you would see in this space. And so I tend to look at some of these guys and see that you could actually learn a lot just from observing what they do versus what some of these people in the space does. And I use them as an example because they're a better example than some of these other guys who just fly by night. They think that they can just, download some exam cram or something like that, get a certificate, and then get a job. No, that's not how it works. Right? There's a lot more obstacles involved.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to add, Mike, that sort of can go back to the discussion we had. I don't know, were you up here when we were having the? I think you were in the chat when I think it was Big J Triple X. Was that who it was over here the other day on the sapiosexual talk?
I was in the chat. Yeah, I was there. I was in the chat. I was in the infatuation.
No. It was the one where it was a discussion about intelligent women versus beautiful women.
Oh no, I wasn't here for that. Yeah,
that was the Platinum Elite one.
Okay, that's who it was. Platinum Elite. Okay, that's who was up on the panel. But no, we sort of represents a mentality that is kind of lost in our community, of the sense of, marriage is not for all people just about love and feelings. It's very much seen as a strategic arrangement in certain circles of, okay, if I want to bring offspring into the world, I'm going to want them to have the best opportunities. So I'm going to be very strategic about who I mate with, who we get together. It's well thought out in that sense, versus, people sort of come from, oh, I fell in love with this person, this and that. It's kind of like, okay, there's some understanding that, those feelings that you may feel initially are going to be short term, and long term. Does this make sense from a business standpoint?
Well, and they're least likely to divorce because they have a lot of assets involved, and then families are already integrated, right? Black family, white family, having Thanksgiving and holidays together, and going to these, these cottages and whatnot in New Hampshire and at the ski slopes, and they do a lot of things that actually creates the cohesion necessary to build that platform. Whereas in the community, if you use this space as an example and listen to somebody like Kevin Samuels, the people who are calling in to his IG show and his YouTube show, you hear the sort of radical differences in mentality.
Yeah.
And the mentality that they have over here is destructive. Whereas on the opposite side, it's a lot more constructive.
Yeah. Well, marriage in and of itself is a business. That's what it really is. It has nothing to do with love. That's why you got to get a license. That's why you got to, do these things with your taxes. That's why as a single guy, I have what they call the single penalty, because you don't get those deductions that you do when you're a couple. So marriage to me just has always been a business. It's how you transfer assets to the next generation. And also provide for your widow or the widower. But I think that I see a lot more when I see white men in the overabundance with Asian women. I notice that they don't get the same flack as black men with white women inside them.
They're privileged.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
black men are not privileged socially, so and politically speaking. So it's almost an apples to oranges comparison. And what I find is that you're more likely to catch flack as a black man, without the white woman itself. I think she's more of an enhancement to your social status.
Yeah, I don't think so necessarily. I think she's more dangerous. I mean, sometimes
in the corporate space. I'm saying in the corporate space, she
oh,
would be more.
okay,
She's more of an enhancement. She's more.
yeah. But I think in the society, you know, I remember when I was dating, I was in a long-term relationship with a white woman, and I swear, man, and this was in the South too, like in Florida, I swear, like every time, well, not every time, but I mean, you know, well, every time, well, whenever we got pulled over by the police, I'd be like, I hope it's a black guy. I hope it's a black because I do not want to be doing no bullshit right now. You know what I mean? Because I already would just know, like, he's gonna see me, he's gonna see her, and I never forget, like, I really didn't understand till one night I had to take her to the ER, you know, because she was doing some dumb shit and she cut her finger. Not really bad, but you know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if she needed stitches or a band-aid, but it was just bleeding really bad. I take her to the ER, and I kind of like, I'm in earshot of the nurse helping her, you know, like patching her up after she got stitches. And the nurse goes to her, the nurse goes, do you have any other injuries? And I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. You know, in my mind, I'm like, that's that bullshit. You know, I didn't even do anything. And I kid you not, as soon as we left the ER, what's parked outside? Goddamn police. And I was like, that's that shit, man. They just saw me walk in with this white woman who got her hand cut because she was doing some dumb shit that she was doing in the kitchen that I told her not to be doing. And they already suspect that I harmed her, you know, and trying to take it to another level. And I was like, I got to get out of this relationship because I just can't deal with it. I don't know. But what I'm saying is I don't know how they do it. You know, I don't know how they deal with that. That shit gave me anxiety like a motherfucker because it never seemed.
What part of Florida were you in?
Jacksonville.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, if it's a good old boy, he's gonna be like, excuse me, man, can I take you outside for a minute and speak with you? You know, are you being held against your will? Are you being raped? Like, what's going on? Is like, who is he? What's going? You know what I'm saying? And you know, the thing is, in reality, and this is a true fact. They actually have been times where they coerce white women to turn against their black husband or boyfriend for fear of taking the children or even arresting them. You know, if you don't tell me something about him, I'm taking you to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, switching gears. Switching gears, Renaissance. What's the temperament on the ground in DC? Have you stepped out of the house yet?
No, I haven't been too much in the downtown. I live a little bit outside the city, so it has died down a little bit in the sense of, you know, not as many troops are here. You know, I think the big thing was they're trying to, you know, preserve that presence. At least for the inauguration, they were of, hey, you know, we got caught slipping once. You know, this is, you know, the full extent of we're not going to let it happen again. But they just wait. Say it again.
I said they'll be back. The white supremacists.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I just saw like that there was a national security alert put out that basically said, you know, be on the watch for domestic extremists, you know, because they've basically been emboldened by the Capitol riot. So, you know, I figured that was coming in the sense of, you know, people going to try to lay low. The smart thing would be at least to lay low, you know, let the inauguration pass, and then, you know, go out here and try something else again. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, if something does happen, and how much not having Trump, you know, with a bullhorn every day, you know, inciting this stuff, or, you know, being the lead on the news will sort of tap some of this down. Because I mean, just for me, the news cycle, I mean, I haven't heard anything from Trump really, or even about him in a serious manner, like directly of him, since he flew away to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, but I heard from Mar-a-Lago, people are leaving because he's there.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing behind that is when Trump bought that property down there, he said specifically, it was in the I think in the paperwork that, hey, you can buy this place, but it can't be your full-time residence. And, you know, he's now trying to turn it into his full-time residence. So, you know, when people heard that initially, before he left office, there was already some pushback going on in the community, just because they were like, hey, you know, that was one of the contingencies that we sold this property on. So I think he's going to be in a legal fight there as far as, can that really be his long-term residence?
Well, I heard that I heard in one of these. Well, first let me say this: the white supremacists are taking too many L's. They will return, and they're going to return because we have We have two chess moves. We got, well, not really. She's not really one of us, but I mean, you have an Asian woman that's next in the line of succession, and then you have the Secretary of Defense, who's a black man, who is the number, I want to say the number 3 or 4 in the line of succession. If that doesn't piss them off, I don't know what else will. But I was gonna say that I read somewhere online in one of these blogs that they were, because they're apparently starting a new party called the Patriots or something like that. He's heading a new political party called the Patriot Party. I read somewhere online that what his supporters wanted to do, where they were like, whatever, that they were all going to move to a state where they could control and elect him governor, and then from there he would just transition to some type of de facto governor for life type of thing. I'm not sure how they were going to pull it off, but that's what they were discussing if he didn't become their president anymore.
I mean, that's essentially what the Mormons did.
Yeah.
In that capacity. Yeah. Now the question becomes: A, what state are you really going to move to, and B, when you start talking about people getting up and moving, how many of these people are really going to do something like that?
Well, I saw in the chat somebody mentioned the Turner Diaries. Read the Turner Diaries. I actually have that book. I actually been reading it, and like I was talking to BGS when I was talking to him. I was like, if you read the Turner Diaries, you realize that we're not that. If you can literally calculate where we're at right now, based on the time, we're not that. We're only a couple of years behind them. We're not that many years out of something like the Turner Diaries happened. And what the Turner Diaries is about is a diary about white nationalism coming to prominence in America. And so it's just one man's journal of how that occurred and everything. But I think they're going to try to do it in Florida. Me personally, I think that they're going to do it in Florida, but I think tactically it would be easier to take over like a Washington State, Oregon.
Wait, why would you say? I figured, why would Trump want to take over Washington State or Oregon? Those states are very liberal. I thought I would think of something more of. And what's up, sir? Abadiah?
Yeah, what's going on, man? I just had to jump in here. Yeah.
So
no, I was gonna quickly say I would think like somewhere like a Wyoming or North Dakota or something.
I was gonna get to that.
Montana.
I was gonna add Wyoming. And I was gonna add one more state.
Montana.
Maybe Montana. It's like a weird shape, right? It's like
yeah, and there's another state too, Idaho as well.
Yeah,
if
Idaho.
They don't have,
Idaho.
Yeah.
Because why? Because those are they just have a different political system out there. Those states have very unique political systems. I think like they use as a barometer the Iowa caucus, and they've been doing that. Like it's like the almanac. Like that's crazy. Like you're telling me that these people that don't deal with our issues as a general nation, these couple handful of people, 5,000, I think 7,500 last time, they decide who becomes the next president. That's crazy to me. Like all for nothing but jibber jabbering about who they like and who they don't like. So that's why, because those states are just, their political systems are easier, and they would just succeed. They would just succeed
they will.
in America. They would just become Trump land or whatever he wants to freaking call it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the one thing I think with someone like Trump, that guy's not going to be able to govern a state.
No,
he doesn't have to. No, he doesn't have to. What I'm saying is that the people just want to follow him. He doesn't have to govern anything. He's just going to be there as their symbol, and they're just going to all, they gotta go somewhere at this point, right? They're being shut down left and right. They had one lady, she got banned from PayPal. It's literally like, I hate to say this terminology, but it's literally like a witch hunt on them, right? So they get the bump. Their family members are turning on them. Hey, that's my dad. I think one kid turned his dad in. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, it's just a domino effect. People are like, oh, he's on PayPal, and PayPal's shutting down accounts too. Like the real estate agent lady, they banned her from PayPal. So it's like these people got to go somewhere. It's like they're being.
I believe she was asking for money for her legal fees.
Yeah, for legal fees. Yeah, but I'm saying that they're being removed from the society, right? So, okay, we know how hard it is as a brother to get a job if you have a record, right? So
Right.
now you got the worst case there is. United States versus you got a Fed case for some crazy whatever they're gonna call it, conspiracy, whatever they're gonna call it, right? And maybe you beat it, and now you got to go back to work, and you got to put that down on your job application. Well, have you ever been arrested, or have you ever, had any charges brought against you? And you got to explain that shit. You know, I think that any type of what's the word I want to say, favoritism, so being white and having
Nepotism. That's the same
nepotism,
as favorite. Yeah, yeah, it's same
nepotism.
thing.
You being white and having that type of record bars you from anything. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's just you're
that's
done. You
America,
wouldn't
man.
make it.
That's common. That's very
You're
common.
done.
Yeah.
You're done. Like these people are literally done. And the fucked up part about it is like the dude. He said that when you go into the Capitol building, it captures your cell phone. So it's just really they have everybody. It's just getting to them in an enormous amount of people. It's just they don't have enough time to get everybody at the same time. There's
And
only
plus,
so
they
many
can do it around the
dockets.
country too. They can
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
around the world. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what governments do. Even
yeah.
the space thing y'all talked about, they can stop you from Mars. Like France, like in Prague, they mentioned nuclear economy, how they can stop certain things, and more is affecting us today. While
Your mic is breaking up, sir, Abidan. Your mic is breaking up. Yeah, I think his connection is breaking up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, that's why I think that their only move left to do, because now the gloves are off, right? So they come back to DC. They come back to DC. Boom.
So,
The military comes back, and they're
I don't
cracking heads.
I don't know if they'll come back to DC. I mean,
They're
they
coming
may,
back.
because these people may not be the sharpest people, but to
They're
me,
coming
it
back.
wouldn't make sense. DC's
And
got there's too much. First of all, if you do anything in the city, you're going to be looking at federal crimes, and you're not going to be looking at some
Black church
jury
call it
pool.
karma.
hold
Black
on.
church says karma.
And you're not going to be dealing with a jury pool that's sympathetic.
Hold on.
If you go somewhere like Oregon and the rural parts and do something like this, one of these more conservative states, people may get behind.
They calling
these
them
people
traitor right now.
are just standing up for freedom, this and that.
Hold on. Do you know what type
Yeah.
of do you know what type of year we're looking at? Do you know what type of year we're looking at? We got the Ahmaud Arbery trial coming up.
Mhm.
We got the George Floyd trial coming up. We got a bunch of trials coming up, right? And it's not looking good for any of those people who murdered that black person. Okay. On top of that, we got
Yeah.
the impeachment. On top of that, we got the impeachment, right?
Well,
And
you
then-
got to think with the Arbery case, that's going to be down in Brunswick.
No.
So-
I understand that. I understand the diversity of where they're at. What I mean is just that if they felt like they were being steamrolled over, right? When all these, I say murdering black men is a tradition in this country, right? It's basically a ritual. We're like the sacrifice, right? It just, if you're that unfortunate soul and you lose that battle, that's just it. You sacrifice. It's a ritual to kill us. It always has been. That's why they put us on display, flayed and hanging from a tree. That's a ritual that goes back to their ancestry in the Highlands, Ireland, English, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like these people
I can
had
take you a step further.
Yeah.
Rome.
Rome,
Rome
exactly.
is known for
Rome, right?
like fascism. Yeah.
So I mean, what I'm saying
That's
is that
basically both cultures, like Britain and all those places.
Exactly.
That's just a culture of the white man,
Exactly.
Ain't
So what I
nothing
mean is that you're going to see major precedents set where all these people either plead out or they get convicted, right? Which means that now, white men ain't going to be able to just kill a brother and feel comfortable that they're going to beat it. The one that is most important, since you were talking about Florida, was when the brother came out to protect his woman, his girlfriend. As they say, we don't protect our women, but the brother came out. The dude was yelling. He pushed the dude down, and the dude shot him. Right? That dude, they snatched that dude up. I think he got anybody know how many years? But he got a substantial amount of time, despite claiming stand your ground. In a major. Yeah. So it's like, okay. That was an L, right? So now you got all these cases coming. If we go, it's so many you can't even keep up. If we go fucking 100% of them in the right convictions, these white supremacists are going to lose their mind because it's in their nature to harm black men. And if you take that away from them, then who are they? You know, what's their identity? I know people are going to disagree with me and say, that's not really the thing and black on black crime and all that, but screw that, man. I mean, come on. If you really, really dig into this, not just in law enforcement, you got an attitude, and we saw it recently with the boy that got tackled by the white woman in New York, in a city where women got their nose turned up so high they don't want nobody talking to them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you just say politely hello to a woman, she might call the police on you, as we saw with the other gentleman in the Central Park, right? So if a woman can tackle a black man and he can't do nothing to defend himself, that just tells you that everyone knows it's open season on us. I'm not a chauvinist, but I'm just saying this is a female tackling a young man over some bullshit that she ain't even sure of. And I get kind of passionate about it because that happened to me damn near almost in a Starbucks, right? I'll keep it short so you guys can comment on it. But I was in a Starbucks up on the Upper West Side because I'm originally from New York. I was Upper West Side Starbucks. I was Upper West Side Starbucks chilling one night. You know what I'm saying? Two white girls came in. They from out of town. I think they were from Lithuania, some country like that. They don't know.
Lord.
They don't know.
Yeah.
They need their one of them left their purse on the back of the chair, right? And I just noticed she left her purse unattended. But I was like, none of my business, right? I'm not gonna tell her, hey, you need to keep your shit together, right? So what happened? She came back, and she's like, oh, my purse is gone, right? So now the whole time I seen who took her purse. But I'm not going to snitch. I'm a brother, right? I'm not going to snitch. It was a white dude. It was a gay white dude who took it, but I'm not going to snitch, right? After 5 minutes, they all looking at me. Everybody's coming up to me. The black shift manager, she coming up to me talking about, do I have her purse? The girl's begging me to give it back to her. And I'm like, damn, she can make me snitch. And
do they have do they have cameras?
Yeah, they had cameras, but they wasn't trying to look at that. They were
I would have said, look at your cameras.
I know. So let me tell you how it went down. It went down like this. So the white dude, so the black girl go. So they all got me circled, right? Like they like, oh yeah, we got them caught, right? So the black girl go, hey, just call your phone. Your phone's in your purse, and she says it real like condescending, like we gonna see this fucking phone ring in my bag, right? And as they say that, I see the white dude who took her purse. He starts trying to slide off, and he's trying to get out the door. So I try to whisper to the girl, he's got your purse. And I go, and she doesn't understand what I'm saying. I'm like, yo. And finally I have to yell it, that guy's got your purse. And so she literally caught him before he gets out the door. And, she basically talked him down for like 30 minutes, and everybody thought that she was crazy, and they're still looking at me. And guess what happened? Motherfucker pulls out her bag. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens? Everybody goes back to doing their thing, and no apology, no nothing. And that's what I mean.
No, that's why I'm like this. I'm no nonsense. If I'm in a Starbucks, I already know you got cameras in here.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So I'm a no nonsense motherfucker. Right. I'll be like, you got cameras in here. Like, let's not be stupid, right? Like, how do you think it is that you find when your employees are stealing shit? Like, somebody breaks in this motherfucker. How you guys know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so let's not be dumb. Let's not play dumb. Like, you want well, first of all, I'd have been like, look. I guess you got one or two options. Either way, look, here's what you're not about to do. You're not about to make me the central figure in this bitch. So we're gonna play it one or two ways, right? Either I'm gonna straight up snitch and I'm gonna be like, it was homeboy right there, right? Or I'm gonna tell you, go check your fucking cameras. Like we only gonna play it one or two ways, man. I don't like I try to move in a way where I blend in with shit.
Yeah.
Right. I blend in
stealth mode. Yeah, that's why.
Man. No, I mean that. A lot of like even like when I do the Sapio shit, a lot of like the topics that I've talked about have been practicing like a disposition of like indifference, stoicism,
Mhm. Stoicism,
meditative, yeah,
yeah,
meditative
Yeah, that's
thought,
the whole
where
concept. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
where you just basically move with the flow of the environment, right?
yeah, yeah.
I think oftentimes what we try to do is we try to stand out too much, right? We kind of already stand out as black men, right? But we need to actually, because we're already going to be default standouts, but even in that standout position, we blend in with the environment.
hmm
Okay,
Mhm.
it's a form of it's passive protectionism, man, in my view,
No, we
right?
need
Yeah.
that. No, we
You
need
know what I
that.
Yeah,
mean?
we
Like I
need
don't,
that.
I
We
don't,
need
I
that.
don't do the
Yeah.
fucking flash, right?
Yeah.
Like just because you got it don't mean you should spend it.
Mhm.
There's virtue in things. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you know what we don't practice, like let's just say like practical, having practical desires.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you think nice car, you want to go Lamborghini, and it's like, okay,
Countach, Lamborghini Countach,
yeah, we
1987.
didn't exactly have to go there. I mean, shit,
I know.
my daughter got me eyeing the Porsche Macan S. Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's sort of like, okay,
yeah.
that's nice. That's
But not a
nice.
That's not
Bugatti,
how I
right?
do.
It's but but I ain't doing the most, right?
Yeah.
That's really just now
Yeah.
making me out as to be a fucking mark, a target, something for everybody to have eyes on and shit. I'm
Yeah.
black.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm already that.
Okay. I'm
You
here.
know what I'm saying? I'm already
He's from
that shit.
Cali, so he know. He know. He know. He from
Yeah,
Cali.
man, look, I
Yes, right
blend in
in
like
front
a
of the house.
motherfucker, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't pull no shorts when it
Thank you.
comes to that type of shit. Like
Yeah.
like in the Starbucks, right? Somebody else getting their shit boosted. Here's what I'm like. Well, first of all, ain't my fucking purse, and two, I didn't leave it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's position this shit
Mhm.
correctly before you step to me
That's
about
right.
any fucking thing. Two, you got cameras in this bitch.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
because
they?
if you really want to know, the motherfucker who's got the purse, he's still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Let's
they
do it
had.
like
Right.
that. Let's
Yeah.
do it like
Well,
Right.
that. Check the
they had
fucking
cameras in
cameras.
the hotel. Well, they had cameras in the hotel, but that didn't work with him telling the man check the cameras. The lady was insistent that somehow by some type of ninja ghost pickpocketing scheme, the
Yeah.
black man who can't even get like how many I don't know if anybody on is in I don't know if anybody on this channel right now is in New York, but they passed that what they call it the harassment law, where basically
Oh
like
wow, I didn't
you
know
can't
that.
even
Yeah.
they got an anti-harassment law where like basically like
That's
you
crazy.
can't
What's
even
wrong with New York?
if you linger at a female too long and she thinks it's sexually suggestive, she can have you arrested. If you
Well,
speak to her
Wow.
in a bar
but
and
this
she's
is
like, I'm not interested, and you're like, you try to be a little bit more like a Mac or whatever, she can have you
Oh
arrested.
damn.
but look, that's
Yeah.
the shit I'm talking about. That you see, well, first of all, we gotta recognize the environment that you in. You blend into
Yeah,
that bitch, man. Like,
yeah,
see
Hmm.
what I'm not about to do. Because first of all, I ain't the type of dude to go and do that type of shit to put myself in a situation, where something like that can be leveraged against me.
Mhm.
Right? That's the first thing. Now you get out here and mode one this bitch if you want, but you run the risk. All
You
right.
can't
That's
do
right.
that.
I'm just
Hmm.
I
saying, but
have to go.
but
I have to
hey,
go.
to let motherfuckers tell it, that's what they
Yeah,
out here. That's how they getting it. Hey,
yeah,
you know what? All the best to you. But see, I got a brain, man.
yeah,
Right? And I understand my environment. See, so I'm not gonna do nothing stupid.
yeah.
Right? And see, it's you could do one or two things.
Hmm.
You could bitch, moan, and complain about the environment, or you could fucking adapt.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? At the
Exactly.
end of the day,
Exactly.
you got one or two options. I'm about
Mhm,
adaptation.
mhm.
Adaptation is what leads to evolution and survival.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? If you want
Exactly
to
right.
fight,
Yeah. Right.
movement and change, it's gonna consume you.
Yeah,
Right? See, so I like to be proactive. I'm like, okay, well, shit. If this is how it's moving, let me look ahead. All right, let me see how to move now. So I got some field of view on where we going, future wise,
mhm,
and I can start
mhm.
hedging and leveraging now.
Yeah,
Like that's the mindset we gotta adapt. I'm saying, like, you got these laws that are coming into effect, but
yeah.
what's the conversation in the majority of these spaces here? how to basically put your ass in that situation.
How to get your ass
Exactly.
locked up.
What's the best
Exactly.
way?
That was the
What's
whole
the
point of that
best way to
Sapio
get caught
stream we
up?
did. Yeah. That was the whole point of that Sapio stream we did with Platinum. We was trying to tell them we don't want to be in that situation, man. Like you just mentioned about the white girl in the purse. And that's a prime example about the Sapio concept. You know, you got to think intelligently.
Yeah.
You can't just
Well,
be
I
out
mean,
there
well,
be
in that
flashing, you
situation,
know,
well, no, in that situation, that was just
if you're trying to
I was
holler at them, you know.
no, well, no. In that
No,
situation, that
no,
just
no.
had that no,
Not
that
me, but you know.
situation.
Oh yeah,
Well, no, that situation just had more to do with the fact that as a black man, if a crime happens, right,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
tend to be the first one to get looked at. But
exactly.
I'm saying, but
Hmm.
there's a position and a stance based on your observation of the environment where if that
Hmm.
does come your way, you pre-position the shit.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
You're
let
like,
me
well, hold the fuck up. It's like, wait a minute, you got cameras, right?
let me explain a little bit more detail. So what I was
Well,
trying to
I don't want to go
avoid.
too. I don't want
Oh,
to delve
okay,
too far deep
okay,
into like
okay.
that because
I
you know
got you.
I
Yeah,
was
I got
just kind of
you. I
explaining
got you. Well,
like
getting
Yeah.
back to
just
mode one, we're getting back to mode one because I have the book, and I can tell you, I don't know if everybody have brought his book, but yeah, but the laws today, that should get you a case. Saying that shit will get you a case.
man. Look, I'll be on some Sapio shit, man. I'm like, look, man,
Yeah,
like I blend in, bro.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I
I
do. I
blend
blend
in,
in.
I blend
Yeah.
in, and I attract it.
yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
it.
You got to, you got
Yeah,
to.
you
What
got
I
to do,
got
you
You
to
got
tell
to
a
got
do
lot
to
it
of
different way,
nowadays.
man.
Yeah, you
Well,
got
like
to
I tell,
nowadays.
well, like I tell a lot of black men is that the dating construct we know that it's changed. It's not even close to what it should be, or depending on your age, it's unfamiliar to you, right? You got to do the texting
Facts.
thing. You got to do the
Uh-huh.
texting thing. You got to do the socialist thing. I tell black men these two things if they want to be, how you say, what's the word? They want to meet a lady. They want to, they like a girl and they wanna. I don't want to use it because it's a dated terminology and it's gonna tell my age. They want to court. They like a girl. They want to court, right? There's two
Hmm.
things you can do. The first thing you can do, I tell them, if enough of y'all ain't having any luck, and you see a girl, you have to invite her to a party. Why?
Of
Because
course.
girls like to be invited to shit. You know what I'm saying? And you just get enough people together, and you actually have a real party where she's there. Because it's the group thing now that's what's happening, right? It's the group thing. She want to pretend like she has a bunch of traces, but see, you got to have your boys on the same page where they know ain't nobody gonna dirty mac you, and you just doing your thing, and they really like pumping you up. And how you reinforce that is I tell them you can't discount the power of a female friend. A lot of guys are like, I don't want to be friend zone. I'm not trying to be friends with no female. But see, that female is the best motherfucking reference, bro. I remember the time I had this chick, and she was like, the only reason why she was fucking with me was because she saw this other chick on my social media, and she asked her about me because I'm trying to holler at her, and she's just, not paying me no mind. But when this other chick told her, what I am and how I get down and I'm cool and all that, that's what got her involved with me. And I wasn't even friends with that chick. I was just somebody that I just associated with, seen around the club or whatever, seen around the club scene. But
I
the
mean,
the,
but
the
let me
importance of
ask you.
female friends.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I kind of talked about this right
Mm-hmm,
in the infatuation live stream,
mm-hmm,
and I said, well, if we really think about it, like that scenario that you just broke down, right?
mm-hmm,
You do realize that like since about the time you hit about puberty,
mm-hmm,
around middle school, junior high, right?
mm-hmm,
That scenario started playing out,
mm-hmm.
right? So the question then becomes how fucking unfamiliar with all of this are we actually as adults? If
Right
we
now,
can, well, seemingly, we seemingly, most people seem to like have not a damn clue, right?
they don't. They
Even though
don't.
that
They
same
don't.
They don't. They
dynamic,
don't.
well, the thing about it is that that dynamic that you just said has been playing out since little boys and little girls started being interested in each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what new stones are being unturned? I think what's happening here is people aren't learning from their experiences.
It
So
has to be.
so you repeat the shit.
I think it has to do with. I think it has to do with so how I look at it is there is a tier of ages, right? There's a tier of ages where if you were born at a certain time, I don't want to give my age away, but if you were born at a certain time, this is what it was. You were doing it this way. You were like, do you like me? Check yes or no, right? Then if you were born at a certain time, it's like, hey, that boy likes you, you know, or that girl likes you, you know, or if you were born at another time, it's like, hey, you want to hit the skins? It's like a brief, it's like a brief time, the flings, right? And then if you were
Mhm.
born, and then if you were born at a certain time, it's kind of like a bunch of us are going to the movies. You want to come? So and so's going to be there. You know what I'm saying? The group thing, you know. And now it's just gotten down to where most people are like their social media. What I mean by the
Yeah.
age, what I mean by the tier of ages is that some people are in the. I think some people that be on YouTube hiding behind these avatars. And I'm not gonna get my age out, but I'm not that old. But I think some of these cats are out of the too old to be trying to date. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like date in this
It's
era. They
common.
too
Yeah.
old to be dating in this era. You don't understand how to like the dude. There was a dude. This is a perfect example. This white guy, right? He got a job, and my God, I hate this shit because these white men they get all the opportunities, and they be doing some fucking shit. So
Well,
this white
I mean,
dude.
well, no, let's not relegate people doing dumb shit with opportunities just
Okay,
to
I'm
white guys.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I've
You're
seen
right.
a
You're right,
whole.
complex.
Well, look,
I'm sorry.
I could do a whole
I'm
goddamn
sorry.
live stream of brothers who've done
You're
some
right.
of the most
You're right.
asinine shit with
You're right.
millions of
Mhm.
dollars
You're
that
right.
they've
You're
made
right.
via
You're right. I'm
contract.
sorry.
But
You're right.
look,
You're
let's
right.
not split
Let me
hairs
tell the
here.
story though. Let me tell the
Like
story.
shit.
Let me tell the story. No, you're right, Compass. Let me tell the story. So this guy got a job as a general manager for the Mets, right? I forgot his name. And it came out that 3 years ago, when he was just a scout or an assistant general manager, he met this lady that was a sports reporter, right? And he was trying to do the old thing, like the old, like let's meet for drinks and we'll talk about some baseball, but it's really let's meet for drinks and I'm gonna hit on you, right? But the lady was from another country, probably a Latin American country. They really ain't want to identify her, but you can tell it might be Latin American because she's like in her country, it's commonplace for men and women to socialize like that. And it's not really, anything, no strings, right? And she assumed that he wanted to be professional. Long story short, he went on this thing where he was texting her and texting her and texting her and texting her over like a year, getting no action. It resulted in him, doing sending pictures of his yay to her,
Oh
literally
Lord. Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
right? And the crazy part about it is that she didn't know like this was wrong because in her country she's like the women when they don't accept the guy's advances, they get drugged in the mud. But when she showed it to some people in America, they were like, "You could get paid. You need to sue." And she was like, "Well, I don't want to do that right now." So she literally held on to this guy's texts for like 3-4 years. And when she found out that he was a general manager of the Mets, and he's no longer and she was no longer in sports, what she do? She leveraged that shit,
Yeah.
He got
That's what they
terminated.
do. Yeah.
ESPN put his J all over their website. It's up there right now. Just Google
But
general
this is
manager
this is
gets
this is
fired.
what I'm but this
Hmm.
is what I'm
Hmm.
talking about.
That's common.
Like just
Yeah.
well no, I'm just saying like just doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just dumb shit that,
hmm
It can
and
cost your
see
life. Yeah.
well not it's just kind of like common sense and like I guess for
Yeah.
me, I don't really have much patience, right?
hmm
To like delve into the weeds about people who just don't use things like social media responsibly.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But that's what I
Exactly.
mean.
You know what I
He
mean?
was too
It's
old. He was too freaking old. I think the dude is
well,
like 50
no,
something.
no, 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 because that's no, because young people do it
Oh my
too.
God.
So it's no, it's across the ages.
I
It goes
hear you. I
It's
hear
all
you.
across
But
the
I'm just
ages.
board. No,
saying. But
because
I'm just
young
saying
people
that.
do the same damn thing with
It's
social
all
media.
ages.
I think
Yeah. Yeah.
what it is that you have either you have people who understand what social media is, right? And
hmm
understand the application of it. And
hmm
then there are people who consume it.
hmm
Okay. Now, when you consume it, you live your life through it, right? It is
That's
within
right.
you. So
Hmm.
you actually live your life vis-a-vis this medium called social media. So
hmm
that means that in this social media space, you'll show your private parts,
Yeah.
Hmm.
okay, versus someone who understands what social media is. Because it's social, guess what I'm not going to do as
Show my
somebody who has a
private
fucking
parts.
brain and some common sense? Show my private bits on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, So I'm just saying, we're talking about intelligence levels, and this
Yeah.
goes across the board. So you got young people who don't put their private parts on social media, and then you have young people who do. You have old people who don't do it, and then you have old people who do, and then the people in the middle, guess what they do? The
But
same thing.
what I was just referring to is that being that he's from a different era, right? His game is not what the game is for this era. So he didn't know what to do, and she's ignoring him. So he just figures, okay, I'll take it to the
Well,
next
she did the
level.
right thing.
No, she did the right thing. No, she definitely did the right thing. I
Yeah.
100% agree with her actions, but I just mean that that's what I'm saying, right? Some cats haven't tapped out. Like we used to have it, like me and my circle, we'd be like, you know what the game is messed up on? Because you got everybody, well, not everybody, I mean, you got a bunch of dudes all trying to get the same chick, right? So you got one IG model. She don't know all them people because you know what I learned is I studied this. It's called Dunbar's numbers, right? So
Yeah,
Dunbar's
yeah. I
number
studied
is
myself. Yeah.
the total number of people you can really have an intimate relationship with in your whole life is 150 at
Yeah,
one
it's
time.
not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how you got an Instagram model? She got 20,000 dudes following her, right? And her inboxes is just overloaded. What does that do? What does that do to her perspective in life about her value? And most of them are trash, right? But that's the
Yeah.
thing. You got all these dudes trying to get at one chick.
It's called. All right, we covered this. It's called infatuation.
Yeah.
Infatuation. Yeah, he covered it. Yeah.
It's called infatuation.
Yeah.
And
I
that's what those
posited it. I
guys
said,
do.
how can men like do what it is that they do to with a woman? Like I'm talking about getting in her DM, sending her money, all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Never met her, right?
Cash app.
Okay, how you have to understand like what is the driving mechanism behind why somebody would do something like they're infatuated with this person.
Yeah.
They're in love with the idea,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's short-lived. It's an intense short-lived thing. They think they're okay. If I just throw that 10 grand at her,
Yeah. Right.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If I just do that, right? Because it's impulsive, it's intense. So
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
like, what
yeah.
you got? What you got? And she's like,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
15. I got 20. I got 20. 25.
I got 20. I got
30.
30. I got 40.
Yeah.
I 40.
Yeah.
So the reality of it is that this is more of like a psychological based condition. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
look,
That's right.
I understand that to the point where literally the Save Your Life streams that I do it's really to get into the psychological mindset of how it is we view the opposite sex.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Exactly.
That's
like,
right.
like
Exactly.
trust me on that. This is why I tend to get short when we get down those slippery slopes of
Yeah.
it's like, man, look, that conversation is had ad infinitum all over this motherfucker. This space over here is the one space where I can really truly like just say I'm gonna take a top down viewpoint of it. I don't want to break down the binary. It's like, look, it's already dysfunctional. Let's start there.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
want to break
Yeah.
down the myriad of ways that it is? I mean, I guess.
No,
I
we don't
don't.
have
I'm not
to. We
gonna
don't
pull.
have
I'm not
to.
gonna
I
get
know.
much
I know.
from that conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we did that with Platinum.
No,
Well,
I
this
was
is what
just,
I'm. Yeah.
no, I was just making a point that these are the problems with the game, right? Is that nobody knows their place. Everybody's trying to be in a certain place, and it's not a place for everybody to be.
Well,
You
no.
know what I'm
Here,
saying?
how about this? How about this, dude? Your place is your place. Look,
Yeah.
once again. Here we go. Right. This is
Mhm.
social media telling you that you have a place.
Yeah.
Oops. See, look, the mere fact that you believe that you look. Okay. Why you think you have a space is because there was some social media content that you consumed that told you that.
Mhm.
Okay. Now let's go back prior to the time you started dumping your goddamn life on social media. Who
Mhm.
told you your place? Who told
Your
you?
parents.
Your parents.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. But why would your parents do that?
Well, for me, my family, so my family background is a little bit different. See, my family, I call them life maters, right? I'm the only one that's not a life mated person. So, but what I mean by that, my parents been together since they were teenagers, since they were children, and everybody in my family has been with their mate, even my sister, for over like 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the only I'm the black sheep in my family. So for me, that's what my parents explained to me was the expectations is you get in a relationship with someone when they say in my family when they say to death do you part, they literally mean that shit. They mean
No,
that
was
shit.
your
Like,
expectations when you're lane, right?
Mhm.
The path that your parents set you out on has nothing to do with that, but has everything to do with your success in life, the path.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay? Did they tell you, well, listen, son, I gotta be honest with you. We don't really find you ultimately that we don't really see that you're gonna be that attractive ultimately out
Mhm.
here on the dating market. So we're gonna go ahead and just tell you right now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Wait, hold on one second, because truth can I hear a little echo. So let me do the hack.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Give me a second. Boom, boom, boom.
Take your time.
Okay. All right. There we go. It's
Mhm.
a hack through the stream.
We're good. We're good.
So see, your parents didn't do that,
Mhm.
right? They set you on the right path, the right lane.
Mhm.
Okay. It's only social media that's telling you, right, that what it is that you feel you should aim for in life,
Mhm.
due to the sweat of your brow and the
Mhm.
hard work that you put in. There are things that you rightfully should deserve in life, right, and that you should strive for, right? But only social media tells you stay in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, see, your fucking parents never told you that. But
Yeah.
see, guess what social media does? Tears motherfuckers down,
Yeah.
right?
That's
See,
true.
so
Yeah.
so this is, again, we have to go back to
Facts. Yeah.
people's their inputs, their sensory inputs. Where are they getting their inputs from? It is
Mhm.
all from social media. It ain't
Yeah.
even from the human interactions anymore. You go
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
into public, you go out
So
into the store,
true.
and guess what? Everybody's in their fucking phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. So
Okay, so
true.
social media is what is telling everybody who the fuck it is that they are right about now.
The date that
Social
never
media is
happened.
telling you who the fuck a high value man is.
Yeah.
Social
Yeah.
media is telling you you're a fucking educated lame.
Yeah.
Social media is calling you a Pookie and a Ray Ray and a and
Right.
a and a, and a Keisha and a
Well,
and
actually,
and a pick
And it's
me
telling you,
and
well,
and it's
actually,
telling you, pump
shit.
and dump.
when I was living in Florida, we used to use Pookie and Ray Ray back in I think this was like 2002. So we used to use Pookie and Ray Ray a lot before the internet, and we used to use Pump and Dump back in
Yeah.
2000, back in 1999 when I was in college actually. So we've been using those terms. Those terms are just
Yeah.
carryovers to me. Like
And,
Pump and
and
Dump's
plus,
a carryover. Pookie
and
and Ray
plus, they
Ray.
had a black woman wrote a book about it, and I forget. Wacky told me like how Sergeant Willie Pete broke it down. He read it from her book and used the same term you just said, and I was like, wow, from
Yeah,
that era,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right. But go ahead.
Pookie and Ray Ray's that. See. People use the jargon very. To me, they use it incorrectly. My favorite
Hmm.
ones are alpha male. They use that incorrectly. My other
Hey,
one is
beta, and
beta
simp,
too. Yeah, beta and simp.
and simp.
Exactly, definitely simp.
Hmm.
Oh my god. So basically for me, you are not a simp unless a Pookie and a Ray Ray is in the picture. And for those who don't know
Exactly.
what I mean, for those who don't know what that means that you take a woman out to a nice date in a movie, right? And when you
Hmm.
drop her off, there's a guy standing at her door waiting for her to come home. And you're like, oh, who's that? And she's like, oh, that's my cousin. And then she walks up to him and he puts his tongue all the way down her throat and they go inside and you go home alone. And that's when you're a simp. Okay?
Hmm.
Because if you were an alpha, you would have got out the car and beat the shit out that motherfucker. Like, what you doing there, motherfucker? You know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
I mean, I suppose,
You know?
I
Well, no,
suppose,
to me, an
I
alpha.
mean, the problem is, again, right? This is social media,
Yeah.
right?
Well, this is before
Explaining,
social media for
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
This is
talking
this
about
is social media telling
2005.
you that, okay, you're this if this, and if this happens,
And they're
if you
wrong.
if you then do this, then you're this, and it's
And they're
just like,
wrong.
yeah.
Hmm.
Hey, Truth,
And they're
what's going on,
wrong.
man? Hold on,
And they're wrong.
let me welcome Truth on. What's going on,
Yeah,
brother?
yeah, yeah.
Greetings,
Hey,
Truth.
what's going on, man?
Yo.
I just, it was a lively, hey, Complex, I've been listening to you the last 3 days. I was going to hop on last night, but I was getting pretty tired, and I actually
Yeah, it was
listened
late.
to
I was late. It was late, man.
it. Was good, though, man. And, I would, part of this, too, this language, right? This language, it sure does tear each other down, man. You do see that a lot in the manosphere where we're using this language that really doesn't serve us best. And and part of that, I got a video coming up soon about that, where we need new language, and we need to
Definitely.
subvert. We got to subvert the old language, because,
Yeah.
like, Manosphere 3.0, that's not just technology. It's just not science. It's
Yeah,
just not, no, it's also
everything.
propaganda. It's also
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
restructure the black community and the way black men interact with one another.
You,
So we
you
Yeah.
can
know what
make,
it is though? You know what it is though? It's all talking points from the previous person that had it first, and it becomes so damaging, on social media. It puts pressure on our minds, and we can't construct what we see in life. So I have a big issue, and me and Wacky, we discussed it on a live stream with MOT talking about the gaslighting and the other
Mhm.
thing on this video, and he mentioned it very well. What we're just saying, that's very common. Before we do that, we have to step away from these other groups, but we can unify the ones that's in them, like Art saying, like we need like a explosion of the two, and say, look, we can't use Pookie and Ray Ray no more. You got to evolve as a man now, because tech
Mhm.
is the future,
He was
and
never
Yeah.
that's
there.
what we
He should have never been used, and that's the let's start there,
exactly.
man. All right,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that should have never happened to begin
And
with.
that's what hurt. That's what hurt
Well,
2.0 in previous spaces. But what I'm
well,
saying is, it's common on social media. That's why a lot of these dudes get upset. Like, say, why they keep using term? Well, it's an old term, and I have a cousin that was nicknamed this years ago,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't know why my mother gave him that nickname. And I shook my head. His real name was Montez, and I was like, I'm from the South, and that's commonly used
Yeah.
how I grew up.
Yeah.
And it's real sad that my generation, y'all's generation, it's gotten worse,
no,
and you
what
don't
it
want to
is
teach that to.
again, it's a meme. It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
meme,
meme.
It's like
right?
a
Yeah.
So
dog whistle. It's like a mean
it's
dog
a
whistle. Yeah.
it's a social media concept, right? So
Yeah.
what happens is that, because look, I grew up in LA, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
You had all kind of pookies and shit.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
you had all kind of pookies and shit up out here, right? And like that's just like, you had like your cousin Pookie, Big Pook, Little Pook. You know what I mean? That was just what you called them, right?
Yeah.
It did
Right.
there was then there's now the social media context in which, if you have to create um like a protagonist and an antagonist, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so one of them has to be this street dude, and we're gonna call him
Yeah.
Pookie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, in the context of a social media conversation, you have to use social media memes, right?
Mhm.
This is
Hmm.
where you get the terms like red pill, blue pill, black pill, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All of this shit.
Yeah.
And nobody
These
and
are
nobody
Matrix
it's a
really
terms.
it's
follows
Yeah.
it's a
anyway.
lexicon. It is a lexicon that
Yeah.
is social media based, for social media based conversations. However, social media is it's okay. I have to be careful saying this, because I think we've crossed the point now where it's not like, kind of like how they
Thank you,
used to say, well,
Julian.
does art imitate life or life imitate art, right? Well,
Life imitates art.
okay, but in this schism, it's social media drives reality, as opposed to
Right.
the
Yes,
other way around.
that's true. Yes. And
Yeah.
that comes from, and like I tell people, you have to read. I always say this wrong, but this is how I pronounce it. You have to read the Allegory of the Cave, and it's funny because I mentioned that book to someone who quotes Plato all fucking day, and he had no idea what I was talking about, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have to read the book, The Allegory of the Cave. For those that don't know, it's about a group of people, and they're chained in a cave, and they're facing a wall. Behind them is a fire, and their only reference to reality are the shadows that they see on the wall. And based on the sounds that they make, they identify the shadows and give them a name, or they describe them in a certain way that's the reality. When one dude gets free one day, he goes out and he peeks out of the cave into the sunlight, and he sees the real world. And he's not able to comprehend it, because his reality all his life has been the shadows on the wall. But he sees that what the shadows on the wall were not what he thought they were. So like the dog that was a man is really just a dog. You know what I'm saying? And he heard the voice of a man, And when he goes back into the cave, he has to decide whether or not to tell everyone the truth, or just sit back down and be shackled and look at the same shit he's been looking at. And he chooses the latter. And so so the point that I'm making is, I always say the base strategy, because in my opinion, nobody follows that pill shit. I mean, I see red pill dudes that really are still blue inside. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm probably
It's
hardcore red, but they still blue inside. And
it,
this
it,
is why. because they
Well,
want to fix this shit, and you can't fix it.
well, it's
No, you
not even.
can't.
It's not.
You,
It's
you
no.
can't. It's nothing
It
can't
literally.
fix.
Well, listen. It's literally right. It's again. What you how serious? Okay. All right. Let's think about this for a second.
Mhm. Well, let me tell you my strategy. Hold on. So my strategy is this: we stop. We don't do anything. We we,
Hmm.
we are still. We are still. That's our strategy. We are still. We
Wait.
do not.
Strategy. Wait. Strategy for what?
Our strategy to do like what you're suggesting to regain control of this shit, right? To
Wait.
remorph
No.
it.
Wait. Regain control of what? Because wait, I need to make sure
Okay.
that you're not
So
saying that I'm suggesting something I'm actually not. So what do you
okay.
mean?
Well, what I mean is like life imitates art, right?
Uh huh.
So we need to reverse that, right? And basically think of it like this, right? We keep engaging in this game, thinking that we're gonna like it's like you go to the casino and you're like, I'm gonna win all this money, I'm gonna beat the house.
No,
That's
but
what
what,
we're
I
doing.
need but specifically though. What do you
Mhm.
mean?
I'm talking about the what's the word I want to use?
I mean, because I
The
do. There's stuff that we do here, right?
okay, yeah.
But see, I view it as productive, right? So
No, no,
when
no. I agree, it's productive, but I'm
yeah, no,
saying
that's
that
what I mean. Like, what are you
I'm
referencing
talking
specifically?
about the way I'm talking about the way we interact with each other, society,
Okay.
the black people, the way
Mhm.
we interact with each other, right? Like Nelly Phillips says, we can't be together unless we're doing something constructive, and that's true as fuck, right?
Mhm.
Like this is constructive for us, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The way we interact with each other, and especially our women. Now you got some people who say I'm red pill, but they want to fix the way we interact with our women. You can't. You have to stop everything. You have to be
Hmm.
still, and you have to disengage. You can't. You can't dance. You can't speak. You can't attack. You just be still and you hold fast, which means you bear all the blunts of everything, and you don't say,
Hmm.
"Oh,
Why do wait?
oh,"
No. Why do you do that?
because
For what?
it's a tactic. It's a tactic.
A
Yeah, you
tactic?
have to
That's
have
what I'm asking. A tactic for what?
a tactic to gain control
Of
of
what?
this what's the word this
Wait,
warp construct that we have. It's a warp.
wait. You talking about like the quote unquote gender war?
No. I'm talking about gender war. I'm just talking about like we got people talking about he's an alpha, he's a beta, this
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
When
yeah, yeah.
really when really the successful men are sigmas. Nobody mentions a
Yeah.
sigma male.
Yeah,
Somehow a
yeah. They
sigma
don't.
male
They
got
don't. They
lost.
don't.
A
No, I did.
sigma
I
Yeah,
male
it's
did.
got lost.
yo.
We did this with the Sapio live stream. We did one. We did one on it.
Oh,
I
okay.
Yeah,
mean,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
essentially what a Sapio male is. That's
Yeah.
why
a
I
Sigma
kind of just
person. Yeah.
basically, yeah, I
Mhm.
kind of just correlated it, you
Okay.
know,
Hmm.
Okay.
That's what he did.
it applies in a unisex concept, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Hmm.
so even if you flip the mirror around, there would be a quote unquote Sigma woman, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
that again,
Correct.
it's unisex. That's what I mean. I guess for me, I um listen. So time waits for no man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So why stop and wait for something and stand still? No, keep moving.
I get
Now,
you, but that's
right,
just my
right.
strategy. My
No.
strategy is
I
to
get no.
stop.
I understand, but see,
Yeah.
this is my fundamental problem with all of this is that
Mhm.
listen,
Mhm.
you did this was here before you were born.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay. Now, well, follow me here.
Mhm.
This shit was here before you were born, bro.
Mhm.
Right? It was here before you were born. Um, and I think as men, I'll speak for myself. At 43, the
Mhm.
shit that I've seen in my life, right? At this stage of the game,
Mhm.
one of the first lessons that I've learned, right? It was one of the hardest, toughest ones, and this was in losing my wife.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Sorry to hear
well, life is precious.
that. Yeah.
Okay, you don't know how long you're gonna be here,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
you pretty much gonna have to live a life of fulfillment and maximize on each day. This is
Mhm.
why to spend time with your precious mind space,
Mhm.
being preoccupied with other people's dysfunctional decision making.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
this is an individual imperative first and foremost. Collectively, you can't fix a goddamn thing. The
Mhm.
only thing you can do is fix your own fucking environment, your own
Mhm.
situation, which is what
Hmm.
everybody seemingly needs to do. right?
Yeah.
Because collectively you can't do a goddamn thing. Why? Because you're all dysfunctional. So collectively you're not going to do anything because individually you got some dysfunctional shit going on. So you're going to get a whole bunch of people dysfunctional in thought get together and then what? Sort some shit out.
No.
You are better off moving with the flow. That's why I said, look, man, I blend in, bro.
Yeah.
All right, I blend in, look at where shit's going, and I
Mhm.
fucks with it. And I
Mhm.
attract whatever comes my way. I mean, I'm not sitting there saying that like, oh yeah, I just got bitches upon bitches, just come. No,
Mhm.
here's what it means. It's like, look, there's
Yeah.
so much shit in this world, dude, that I readily cannot change with my own hands.
Yeah.
And even
Same
with
here.
my
I can't.
even
Yeah.
with my voice,
Yeah.
why the fuck should I spend time giving a damn?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
a waste. It's
Facts.
literally
Yeah.
a waste of my brain space to do
Yeah.
it. It's a waste of my brain space to literally walk around saying I'm red pill.
Mhm.
Do you
Right.
just realize what it is that you have to like do? You have to like create like a fucking a new altar in your mind.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right? Because now you have this social media interface that says, hey, I'm Avatar, fill in the name with this picture, and when I'm here, I'm red pill. And then guess what you have to do? Switch it off and then go into the real world, clock into your job. Maybe you do like tech support or customer service work, right? And
Yep.
so do you mode one and red pill the the nice old lady who's calling you because she has a computer issue and she likes for you to fix it?
Well, I do.
Do you talk to her like well, this is a
No, they
woman,
don't do
so
that. No.
she's just a chicken, it's female nature, whatever. So she don't. I mean, do you actively play that out like in your day to day, like I said, you got to actually engage with people in the real world.
So what works for me
Exactly.
and since we're disclosing ages, I can tell you I'm 45, so we're about the same era.
Yeah.
We got the same. So and what I was gonna say was that what works for me is that I have a way, and I do sales, right? I'm a sales professional, right? ABC, always be closing. Been doing sales since whenever, however long, it's been a long time. My whole profession pretty much. But what works for me is that I actually I play now in a sense when you talked about that scenario with the customer service lady, right? I mean, I'm what you call an assertive individual. So however I am is how I always am. Like right now, this is the real me. If I get on the phone with someone or I'm selling someone, I'm high pressure. I'm high pressure sales. So if I'm not really ever helping anybody, I do some problem solving, but what I'm trying to do is get you to conform to my viewpoint through persuasion, right? So basically what red pill just means is that you're not going to believe that something's going to be different this time around. And how you do that is you play people. I don't know if people are going to say that's a scumbag thing to do, but you have to play people to get what you want. I mean, it may lack integrity for some people, but you have to play them. My biggest problem in the workplace people deal with me is I don't talk to nobody that I don't fuck with. So, for example,
that's how I was. So I used to work.
I can be around 20 people all day, and I'm just not talking to nobody. And
Now,
they get
did you do that? Were you doing that prior to learning what red pill was, or
no,
when
I wasn't doing that.
you learned what red pill was, and then you started doing that?
Yeah, because at first, so what happened was
I have another question. I just have another question.
I'm sorry. Go on. Yeah.
So let me ask you: did you learn about the red pill on like YouTube or on social media, or when the movie The Matrix came out?
No.
When did you learn about it?
Oh, when I was in college. I was.
I know. So was that when The Matrix came out?
It wasn't called the red pill. It was
no, because this is where it comes from. I did a live stream on this.
I know, but originally that's from the movie. It comes from Marcus Aurelius. The Way of the Warrior is basically his philosophies, right? And so there's different ways. So understand, as people, we're all about interactions, right?
But wait, hold on. The thing is this: in the social media context, right? You know where they relate it. You know the allegory where they relate the social media contextualization of red pill and blue pill. You know what they relate it to, right? They don't
What?
they don't relate it to Marcus Aurelius. They relate it to the Matrix.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is what I want to do. Let's
Mhm.
stay there with it
Okay.
because that's what it is.
But you know why they related to the Matrix, right?
What? Say that again.
I said, but you know why they related to the Matrix, right?
The reason why, well, we already know why. There's there's a scene in the movie.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Right.
But
Okay.
more
But
importantly than that, it's an easier way to dumb down the philosophy.
well, okay. But my whole point here,
Mhm.
my whole point here is that this came from a movie.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So now, that being said, let's go back to that whole sort of real life scenario, real world experiences and situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would say that when you say the philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
right, and so how one would come to this realization that we are going to call in this modern social media context red pill.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that there are men who have come to that realization prior to all of this?
No.
Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Really?
Yeah, they haven't because
Wait a minute. No, I would actually posit to say that they have.
Okay,
They just
so you
never.
gotta
They just never. Well, the thing was, there was no concept of calling that.
Yeah.
There was no concept of calling it red pill. What it was
I
called,
agree.
it was just called being a bachelor. It was just called
Yeah.
life's experiences. It was
Exactly.
just called. It was called life, right?
Exactly.
And so you really didn't have to overthink it
Exactly.
and over philosophize it to the point where now what you're trying to do is make philosophical distinctions about mere life experiences. Which well, look, if you want to do that, that's okay. I'm really just trying. It's almost as if it's like, again, it's almost as if it's like what's happening here is instead of, right, we're going to do that schism again. Instead of experience, instead of an actual experience
Mm-hmm.
being the actual teacher, we did it in reverse. So what we did was we conceptualized, right, the outcome of an experience, right,
Mhm.
either black pill, red pill, or blue pill, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then what we did was we reverse engineered it. And so now what we did was we philosophized it, and we're embodying this with actually no experience in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of what I notice what's happening.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, right? Here, and I'll give you an example. I already just told you, dude, I'm widowed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now I'll tell you right now, who's more black pill than me?
I get it. I get exactly where you're at, bro.
But have I ever, up until this point, have I told you that I was black pill?
No. Mm-mm.
Because
But
I think it's bullshit. Because I
But
think
if
it's
you
bullshit.
recall, when I first hopped on, I said I'm bachelor for life, right? And
Yeah.
if you recall, and I don't know, I didn't say this, but I've always considered myself to be a playboy before, and after
Mhm.
that whole era, right? I'm still a playboy, even though there is no playboy no more. That's the era I grew up in. You talk about Lamborghini Countaches. My life was supposed to be 1985, bespoke suits, all that stuff. That was my life. You know what I'm saying? The trophy wife, I had all that, bro. I mean, the steps to the pearly gates was literally right there within my reach. And you know what stopped me? I saw my brothers suffering, and I said, damn, what type of sellout nigga will I be if I don't turn around and try to be a real black, what I thought was a real black man. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's where I've been grounded ever since. Man, I quit a job that was going to be a whole new career for me because they wanted me to go through some fucking HR training where and they fucked us over because they hired a bunch of black people and they wanted us to go because the company had some problems with black people, so we were the token hires. And then they had the EEOC come in and they want and this was in the South, so this is why I took offense to it. They wanted to train us to not be racist, and they said if you ain't take this training, then you're not going to work here. And you know what I did? I got the fuck up and walked out. And everybody was shocked because I was assuring to be the next manager right after that training. And I got the fuck up and walked out. And they didn't know what to do. They didn't know if I was going to come back and shoot the place up or whatever. They was like panicking because they knew my demeanor was just agreeable. And here I am like, what? You wanna who the fuck you think you talking to? You want me to sit here and let you train me as a black man how not to be racist? Fuck that. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
hey,
So
I say like this, dude. Look, man. Again, I'm taking what black men need to learn how to do is take it in different tone
yeah, I get
and
it.
an
I get it.
approach. Because the fact of the matter is this, dude. Like, you see, I'll raise hell like that when it's my company at stake.
Yeah.
But see, if it's somebody else's business, you got to understand something. I'm the motherfucker bringing value to you. I'll walk, you
Yeah.
lose,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So, hey, look,
Exactly.
ain't no harm, no foul, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm totally different. Part of like that again, that's sort of like that switch in mentality that I wish that black folks would oftentimes embody instead of kind of taking a more of a how can I say this? It, it's it's an indifferent tone, right? Because see, like a tone of indifference, a tone of indifference implies that there's inherent self value, right? That's what that shit implies, right? If you just rarely just get up and just bounce,
Yeah.
right? You just get up and just bounce, right?
Yeah.
They'll just be like, well, damn, like damn, like I straight up quit a job before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And literally 2 hours later, dude, like the HR manager was calling me like, "Can you please reconsider?"
Yeah. 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 I feel you.
Yeah.
Because I
Gotta
was
do
like,
that.
"Look, I was like,
Yeah.
check this here out, man. Like, yo, first of all, you got me reporting to the wrong motherfucker. Like, I'm like I run the recruiting department for HR, but somehow, some reason, some way, I'm reporting to the marketing manager, and she don't know what the fuck she's talking about. And I got to
Yeah.
come to you, who's my actual manager, and tell you about this, and you can't do nothing about it. Well, check this here out. This job is for somebody else. Deuces.
Mhm.
Two
Yeah.
hours
Exactly.
later, she's like, please don't go. Just, I'm going to give you a week. Okay. I'm going to give you
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah.
Check back in with me in a week, please. I'm like, all right, I'll give you a week.
Yeah.
Shit
You
don't
know
have to
what the
change,
most
though.
you know what the most rare pill thing I've done in my life so far right now for the last 3 years? I grew my locks. Okay? Which pretty much bars me from any sales position. I got locks right now down to my shoulder. And I went for an interview, right? And the dude was like, we got grooming standards. And he was like, how do you feel about cutting your hair? I said, how do you feel about cutting your nuts? This is religious.
Yeah.
I'm a Nazarite. I'm a Nazarite. You know what? If you're not going to hire me, we can end the interview right now. He's like, no, 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 no. We'll do the interview. I'm like, you sure? Because I'm not cutting my hair. So you could just, you could forget about that. And you know what the sad thing is? I had a cousin that my family fucking, they think he's so boss. I mean, this motherfucker ain't shit. Because when I was growing up, my father was military and he raised me to be clean cut. My dad's type of nigga, he would take me to the barbershop if I had locks and cut them off. That wasn't played in my household. But this cousin of mine, he lived in the projects and his mother was a single mother, my aunt, and he was a barber and he had locks. I don't forget, he had locks down to his ass. When he graduated college, he went for a job. He still had the locks. He went for a job at Verizon. And back when they had the little
Hmm.
telephone, the sales thing, making
Yeah.
80
Yeah.
grand. This is like back in 1990 something. And it's funny because he came to the house with a white girl, and I told her the story about how he used to have locks down his ass. I didn't even have locks yet, right? But that was the conversation. And he finally explained what happened to his locks. He said when they offered him the job, then they said, "How do you feel about cutting?" After he accepted, they said, "How do you feel about cutting your hair?" And he said, "No problem," and did it and cut his locks off. And I was like, "That's the shit." That's why I roll heavy like I do, because
Hmm.
there's just some things that you cannot agree to. You have, and
Hey,
that's what
man, well, you know what? Seven Granules, he has a
80
video
grand,
saying
80
that.
grand. I mean, 80 grand for the hair,
No,
but
no, 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 no. I said
oh what?
seven granules. He's
Oh,
he's a very popular YouTuber.
oh, okay,
I don't say his actual name, but
okay,
what I'm saying sounds like his
For
name.
coded
yeah,
reasons, yeah.
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 So I'm like,
But
to
no, I'm just
me,
saying he has a video talking
mhm,
about how black men need to actually do that to get
mhm,
an advantage. So I think that there is a thought amongst black men with regards to like hairstyle success and all
mhm,
that. Like I
mhm,
don't think it's that cut, and we're at this is gone at 3 hours, man. So we're gonna have to cut it, shut it down here. But I don't think that. Well, I think people are kind of split on that. Like that what you were just talking about right there. Because, like I said, Kevin, shit. I didn't say the whole name. Seven Granules. He did a whole video. He basically
No. He's bullshit. That motherfucker. When it comes
whoa. No. Like, let's not call him.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
I apologize.
This is why I'm like, I use a different name, and I'm trying to be.
He is disingenuous because okay, look. I'm gonna be honest here because I usually keep my tongue. But I like you, so I'm gonna be forthcoming. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, I mean, it's not even just about liking me. It's not.
No. I'm just giving you respect because I don't want to deflect. I'm just giving you respect.
Okay.
That individual is disingenuous because I can tell you right now, the advice that he's given is outdated and it's not correct. Okay. He has never been in that world. I don't know what type of lies I've been in that world.
Well, check it out. Here's what we want to do. Because I said, this platform is respectful to other content creators. Now, I'll say like this.
Mm-hmm.
In order for us to maintain the standard that we're at, right, what we can't do is that. Right?
Okay.
Because here's what happens.
Yeah.
The other platforms, they do it to us.
Yeah.
Okay? They do it to us.
Yeah.
But what makes us distinctive is that we don't do that.
Gotcha.
Right, and it allows us to maintain a standard that we've spent a lot of time setting forth. So, brother, respectfly, I cannot have that shit going down. I cannot have that shit going down over here.
I want to say something, guys. I want to say something. When you guys are talking about memes, and I see it a little bit differently, I guess, with Pookie and Ray Ray, or red pill, black pill, blue pill.
Mm-hmm.
I look at that. I think it's all valid. It's all valid given a certain context. If you're using these words, these ideas in its proper context, and with in its rightful purpose, I think it's completely valid. Where it comes from the movie or not, is it kind of corny? Yeah, it's kind of corny, but we gotta develop language, and you know how the English language is. It's like you have one word that has 7 different meanings. And it's like bad. What's bad mean? Bad means good. No, bad means bad. It just kind of depends. And over time, things can change. And the man was saying earlier, like how over time people hijack it and then they misuse it. And then they take that word to silly town, and then it seems kind of ridiculous. But I think that's just part of the process. That's just part of life. And same with like how life imitates art. That's true. And then at the same time, life imitates art, and art imitates life. It's like this symbiotic relationship. And for me, I think as Black men, we need to be masters of mimetic warfare and spreading ideas that allow us to move up that social hierarchy. I think that's really the purpose. And once we get to a spot where we're using language, we're using ideas, we're using phrases and words that don't serve us well, or actually work against us, and it's time to move on from that and replace that with something different that's more effective.
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Well, my point was about the grooming thing, right? The grooming thing does not matter if you hold your own nuts. That's what I'm saying. If you go into a position for any type of employment opportunity or any type of entrepreneurial endeavor, I mean, come on, we got guys walking around here with caveman beards running venture capitalist firms, and I'm like, how does the dog get in the office before my locks? You got dogs living in these offices of tech companies. How does the dog get through the door before my locks?
Because the reason why the dogs get in there is service animal law.
No, I'm just talking about recreational dogs. I'm not even talking about that service animal.
No,
thing.
That's how they do it.
Oh, that's how they do it. Okay.
That's how you get animals in. Okay. That's how you're able to get animals into public spaces now. Okay. Service animal law. That's how.
Are you guys familiar with
all you have to do? All you have to do is basically say, "I have a social anxiety."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this my doggo right here.
Mm-hmm.
And yo, I'm gonna have to really shut it down.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
But you just say, "Yo, my doggo right here keeps my anxiety down."
Mm-hmm.
And emotional comfort.
And what was that?
It's an emotional comfort.
Comfort.
Yeah.
My mother has one. Yeah, my mother has one.
That's how they do it.
Mm-hmm. And I want to respond too about this hair, because everything you're saying is correct. And this has everything to do with mimetic warfare. You guys familiar
Exactly.
with the term? What do they call it? Semiotics, right? It's like
Yes.
the study of
Mm-hmm,
symbols.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So when you look
yeah,
at
yeah.
dreadlocks aren't just hair. It's not something that it's just a hairstyle that keeps your head warm and something you grow out. When people look at a black man with dreadlocks, they're thinking, former penitentiaries, probably a criminal. Is he doing drugs? It's like all these symbols, all these attachments to that hair. So it's good that you say no. I'm going to wear my dreadlocks because you know this, and I know this. We all know this. That when you wear your dreadlocks and you get that job, and then you dominate the workforce, then what that does is set the precedent and brings a new symbol attached to dreadlocks that the most
Hmm.
powerful, the most educated, the most successful, the most high aptitude black men wear dreadlocks. And then what does that do
Exactly.
for the rest of black men? Now you come in clean shaven and your hair's looking, you got it's low and cropped, you got the Caesar fade. Well, if
Hmm.
he, now all of a sudden black men are being perceived totally different, and that's big.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I mean. And
Exactly.
what I'm saying is that if no matter what I learned, and this is because I was around Italians when I started my career. I was around Italians, and Italians and blacks where I'm from do not get along. But I was welcome and treated like a freaking human being, paid well, respected because I had an assertiveness that people respected in sales. And this was as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old teenager. This was my first internship on Wall Street. I had this assertive, like I would never, never, ever, ever consider no. No was not a I didn't even know what that word meant. You know what I'm saying? But what I mean is that when you come to the table like that, assertively in any type of situation, if you have your locks and you really put yourself down 10 toes, they're gonna bring you on board, bro. They're not gonna deny your value because of your hairstyle. If you compromise, that's just on you. You know what I'm saying? But I never looked at myself as having limited opportunities where, oh, I'm not gonna ever have this. I gotta go and do my thing. I gotta cut this hair off because I'm never gonna get this again.
No,
I've never looked at my life like that.
yeah, no, that's all in an individual imperative. How you style yourself, how you present yourself when opportunities present themselves to you. I mean, there's the variables that you have to control within that, and that's pretty much you have to kind of move on the decisions that you make about your own life, right? So
Mm-hmm.
kind of is what it is. But Joe, I got to
All
shut it
right,
down.
peace.
I got to shut it
Good
down.
talk. Good talk.
I
Peace.
appreciate y'all, man, for
All right.
joining the panel, man, and just chopping it up here for a bit.
No doubt. Thank you for your time.
We're gonna go back live like a little bit later. I have
All right.
a
I got you.
particular.
I got you subscribed.
All right, yeah, that's what's up, man. So yeah,
Appreciate it,
we're gonna go ahead and
complex.
shut it
Yeah.
down. Hit the like
All
button
right.
if you haven't. Share it if you feel so inclined to do so, and we'll be back. Peace.